The #1 herd of bison, North Dakota State, makes their first trot down south to Terre Haute for the first time in 5 years as the Indiana State Sycamores look to knock off the #1 team in the country for the second time all time. North Dakota State was the first time 10 years ago in the Fargo Dome. Here on the field at Memorial Stadium, I am Luke Martin alongside the coach Jim Leisure. Third member of our broadcast crew, Kelsey Casper, will join us in a matter of moments. Jim, this North Dakota State program, they've kept it rolling despite having 3 head coaches over the last decade. Matt Ince is doing a wonderful job.
He really is. And you know what? Greatness is greatness. It doesn't matter what level you're playing at. North Dakota State, like you said, has worked through several head coaches and just maintained that level of greatness.
Well, today the challenge is very steep for this Indiana State team, coming off a loss a week ago at Northern Iowa, but it's a loss that the Sycamores feel like they're building some confidence.
Well, and that's the thing with coaching. The idea is to get better every day. It doesn't matter whether that day is at practice, that day is in the classroom, or that day is on the football field. I do believe that Indiana State is getting better. Difficult schedule, but hopefully they'll be able to compete today.
For more on the injury situation today, not just for Indiana State, but North Dakota State as well, here's Kelsey.
Yeah, guys, the biggest news today is that Indiana State will be without their starting quarterback, Gavin Screws. He suffered a shoulder injury to his throwing arm last week against UNI, so Cade Chambers is getting his first career start at quarterback for the Sycamores. As for the Bison, starting center Jalen Sundell in a walking boot on the sidelines, unlikely for today, and standout tight end Noah Gindorf out for the season, out for the rest of his Bison career as he underwent surgery for a lingering ankle injury. So look to fill that hole. Joe Stoffel, he's going to be getting a lot of snaps at that tight end position, guys.
Will Cardinal in the kickoff for North Dakota State. Thank you, Kelsey, for those updates. Both teams, as you go throughout the stretch of a season, Bison yet to have a bye week. Indiana State has already had theirs, but the injuries are mounting. It is a gorgeous day here in Terre Haute today. Mid-50s, sun shining brightly. As you can see, back deep to return for Indiana State, Dakota Caton and Maddox Blackwell, as the right-legged boot by Cardinal sends it deep into the end zone, and Indiana State will have it at their own 25-yard line. And as Kelsey mentioned, no Gavin Screws today. Hurt his shoulder. It's the first game, he told me before the game, he's ever missed in his whole playing career. So now it's Cade Chambers who will get the start. He was #1 on the depth chart back in the spring.
Well, and in life, all you really want, Luke, or can ask for is an opportunity to prove yourself, whether that's at work or wherever it is. For Chambers today, it's right down there at the 25-yard line.
The redshirt freshman from Maryville, Tennessee, appeared in 2 games a year ago for Indiana State. He completed his first pass of the season last week to Dante Hendricks, who you see at the bottom of our screen. Dinka with a hole, bounces off a couple Bison, gets near the 30-yard line. It's going to be a short gain of 4 for Justin Dinka. Dinka got his first career touchdown against Montana the last time we were here. A year ago in the Fargo Dome, he had 2 carries for only 6 yards against this Bison defensive front that's only allowing 15.8 points per game.
Yeah, that was a huge hole, but it was closed quickly by James Kaiser.
Kaiser back. He missed the game last year between these 2 teams. Chambers on play action, hit as he threw and trying to get to Dante Hendricks. That was the pressure that you're going to see up front today. That was Spencer Wagee, who was right in his grill. He missed the game last year as well. Bison have missed some key pieces defensively, and they're still without some key pieces today. Jake Cava is out. Cava, and then Eli Mostart, his brother Will, though, twin brother, will start there on that defensive line.
Well, Wagee is a nice defensive player for North Dakota State. 6.5 tackles for loss coming into the football game. 3.5 sacks. Does a really nice job of staying home on the bootleg.
3rd down and 6. This is where Indiana State has struggled this season. 10th in the Valley out of 11 teams and converting on 3rd down. And Cade Chambers trying to beat the pressure, but he won't. And speaking of Mostart, that's Will Mostart who runs him down, and Indiana State will have to punt, where they only punted 1 time all of the game a week ago in the Unidome.
Well, North Dakota State brought some pressure off the backside, weak side, left side of the Indiana State offensive line, and you know, people have to recognize that stuff. A lot of times that particular job falls to the left tackle. He's supposed to give an alert call. Pretty obvious that the defender was creeping up and coming, and then somebody had to step out and get him, and then of course come off their block, and that allowed the sack.
Harry Traum, first punt of the day. Again, only punted once last week in the Unidome. This one near midfield and will be fair caught by the Bison. And that will be Braylon Henderson who fair catches it, and that will set up the North Dakota State offense. After a 3-and-out for Indiana State, this has been a Bison offense led by Cam Miller. He got his third career start against Indiana State last year in the Fargo Dome. That was following a week where he had to come in for the injured Quincy Patterson for NDSU and led a comeback against Missouri State. He is really taking care of the football in his career at NDSU.
Well, right now, North Dakota State is going to line up in their shotgun spread formation, but they do get in some double tights and some fullbacks and quarterback under center. It's going to look a little different. Everybody plays wide. North Dakota State can also play physical and downhill.
Goodell will get the carry, bangs off a Sycamore, and Jeffrey Brown. Short gain for Ganella. 5'11" junior from Riverview, Florida. This is a NDSU team that will also be without Kobe Johnson today. He had an ankle injury last week against Youngstown State, and what a game he had a year ago against Indiana State. Set a school record for the longest run from scrimmage, 97-yard touchdown run, had 155 yards on the afternoon, and now Miller will go under center of Brandon Westberg, who gets the start today.
When you saw them line up double tights, they brought in two other fullbacks and just put Lipke back there and turn around, hand the football and try to run over. They weren't fooling anybody, just coming straight downhill.
And you could see the run defense for Indiana State is vastly improved, only allowing 2.9 yards per carry. Last two seasons, they averaged nearly giving up 5 yards per carry. See the two big fullbacks in the Delta formation, and now they break to Cam Miller in the gun. 3 receivers to the near side, and one of them is Lipke. And they go for him there, but it goes right off his hands, and you're not going to see that very often by the senior from Spencer, Wisconsin. NDSU will have a 4th down here. It appears they will punt the ball.
Well, Sycamore's brought 5 defensively here, and again, 4th and short, all kinds of games you can play here. You can fake punt. It's not a bad position to do it on the field. You can go long count, try to get the first down that way. It appears as if the Sycamore defense was playing way back off the ball to prevent that long count jump off sides.
Caden Steindorf back to deliver the boot. Dakota Caton calls for the fair catch right at the 5-yard line. I believe they will give him the 6, and that will bring us to immediate timeout. No score yet between the Bison and Sycamores here on the Valley on ESPN.
1st and 10 for Indiana State from the 6-yard line.
Kate Chambers and Indiana State with their second offensive possession of the game after going 3-and-out, but the Indiana State defense was able to hold on their own. Justin Dinka will get the carry this time for Indiana State. Actually, T. Hodge now into the game. T. Hodge, who was injured the last couple of weeks, missed the Northern Iowa game, as well as got hurt in the Montana game for Indiana State. He's been dealing with a upper thigh contusion and a bruise on his leg. Gets the short gain of 1 there. And now Evan Elias comes in for the first time. Transfer from Colorado State.
Coach Mike Bath already doing a lot of different things offensively.
Elias tries to go off the right side of his offensive line behind Joel Stevens and Jose Vasquez, one of the senior captains for Indiana State. But gets very minimal gain, and now Indiana State in another 3rd down and long.
Number 7, Elias.
So far we've seen basically a couple of inside runs. We've seen a bootleg. We've seen a drop back. We've seen a change at quarterback and a little counter there. Kind of faked the toss action left and brought the quarterback back to the right. So Coach Bath doing everything he can to find some holes here.
Indiana State 0 for 1 on 3rd down. They convert on 7 3rd down conversions a week ago. They had 9 through the first 3 games of the season. Chambers has to avoid the pressure again, and he is going down yet again.
Well, he does a nice job there. The protection was such that he was able to get around and just kind of break away. And it looked like he was going to go for a huge gain, probably a first down. James Kaiser, I think, was there to wrap him up before he was able to get that done.
He had a rash of injuries after he was a Buck Buchanan Award watch list member. 12 games as a true freshman in 2018. Again, missed the ISU game last year, but he did play in 9 of the 15 games. He's a first-team All-Valley guy. Harry Traum, this punt is shanked. And not very often you've seen Harry Traum shank a punt in his early freshman career at Indiana State, and this one's going to be marked at the Indiana State 40-yard line. So NDSU with great field position for the #1 Bison when we come back here on the Valley on ESPN. Cam Miller and North Dakota State with their second opportunity here of the game. Still no score between Sycamores and Bison as Waters blocks away for Ganella, but the ball is loose on the turf, but I believe the Bison got it back. Ganella had a critical fumble against South Dakota near the end of the first half. That's where NDSU had 3 turnovers that day, one of the rare times they turned it over. That's why South Dakota had a halftime lead against this Bison team.
Look, sometimes, a running back will take his eyes off the football. That was, of course, a toss, and the idea is you get big eyes, you start looking for your hole, you forget to catch football. We coach kids and we tell them you catch a football with your eyes.
Tamarick Williams this time will carry. There's the SMU transfer, but been in the Bison program last season. Williams gets a short game, but now it's going to be 3rd down and long for the Bison early, and they are also 0 for 1 on 3rd down to start, but this is where they have been good. They're the best team in the Valley. They convert on nearly over half of their 3rd down conversions on the year.
I'm excited to see, well, it looks like they're going to go spread. Coach Hintz just has so many weapons and so much talent and so many different formations, and they decided obviously to go into more of a throwing formation. It wouldn't surprise me to do anything.
Phoenix Sproles out today, one of his main targets. They go across the middle and it's dropped. DJ Hart was the intended receiver. He would have been just short of the sticks, but falls to the turf. And how about Maddox Blackwell there on the back end for Indiana State?
One of the best things that Maddox does is that he lowers his shoulder and he doesn't do the targeting thing. Nice, just kind of use the shoulder pass and not risk the penalty to keep that drive alive.
Second punt of the day for Caden Steindorf. He had 3 punts last week against the Penguins. A game in which NDSU was able to get off to a quick start. This one down inside the 10. Caden will not fair catch it and gets an Indiana State bounce and goes into the end zone. Trying to chase that one down was Jaden Price, who's a very quick return man as well for NDSU. As we will go to a media timeout. Indiana State and NDSU when we come back.
Fans, please give a big round of applause to this year's Sean T. White Award winner, Mr. Dante Hendricks.
What a season it was at practice yesterday as Omarion Dixon walked out of the tunnel onto the field and was met by a round of applause from his teammates and coaches. He is progressing, was able to walk out into the field after breaking multiple bones. So a special moment for his team to connect with their teammates. Guys?
It was an extremely emotional moment yesterday at practice. Omarion Dixon was on FaceTime as well with John Moore, who was the other Sycamore that was able to survive that tragic car accident. As Indiana State back out here on offense, and a big hole, big run for Justin Dinka. It will move the chains for Indiana State near the 43-yard line. Well, it was a spark of energy yesterday seeing Omarion Dixon. Justin Dinka channeling his inner Omarion Dixon there with a nice run.
Really nice hole there, opens up, and he just does a good job. And again, really good fake by the quarterback too, just to keep those defenders honest for just another step. Little things, but they do add up.
Indiana State last year did get beat 44-2 in the Fargo Dome, but Peterson Kurlegrand rushed for almost 100 yards in that game. Indiana State had success running the football, just costly turnovers. This one thrown near the feet of Dakota Caton. Good coverage there on the back end by Dawson Weber.
Incomplete, intended for #1, Caton.
You're going to see on the replay here this huge hole open up and just kind of like the Red Sea right there. I mean, just about anybody get through there, and then he does a nice job of finding that extra gear.
Saw earlier in our broadcast, North Dakota State's been so good. Only 4 games last year where they allowed a team to rush over 100 yards. Every game this season, the team has been able to rush over 100 yards, and a lot of it is because they've got new faces up front, and this time Javier Darrett, the junior, lone game he's missed this season was against Drake. He jumped.
Well, good job, too. Again, as coaches, you watch film and you see how aggressive defensive fronts are, and that may have been something that Coach Mallory decided, and Coach Bath decided, we can get some penalties. We can get 5 or 10, maybe even 15 yards of free yardage if we can go on a hard count. Now, again, you got to discipline yourselves and not make sure that you don't jump.
Indiana State hasn't targeted Dante Hendricks, who's nearing a mile marker in this game in his career of 2,000 receiving yards. He's at the bottom of your screen. Chambers finds Dakota Caton, but right off his fingertips. Caton had 6 receptions for 71 yards last week at Northern Iowa, filling in for the injured Dejon Collins for Indiana State. Now it'll be 3rd down and 5.
Well, you're going to see on the replay here, this obviously would have been more than enough for the first down. Again, good ball fake, brings the ball down and just leads him just a little bit, but probably one Caton should have caught.
You can see Kubitz there, nearly got his hand on it as well. Chambers from the gun. Indiana State hasn't converted on a 3rd down yet. Neither team has. Both teams 0 for 4 combined in this game. Chambers took his time trying to get Harry Van Dyne. He was still short of the sticks. And with him falling down, would not have been able to get back up and, of course, pick up the first down. So now it's 4th down and 5, and Indiana State will have to punt it back to North Dakota State.
Well, playing a little field position here, and this is an opportunity for Trom to maybe drive one deep, maybe get something to go out of bounds. They are on the left hash. One of the things Coach Mallory talked about was how Trom can actually kick with either the left foot or the right foot. Pretty versatile young man. So we'll see what he does here and where he tries to place the football.
Freshman from Melbourne, Australia, protected by Jeffrey Brown and Joey Shue. In front of him, you see those 2 numbers there on your screen, 27 and 2. Trom, much better kick this time. Weber Price comes in, and Price doesn't call for a fair catch and gets met by that Indiana State special teams unit. Jaron Johnson and Jaden Perry down there on the tackle for Indiana State. And now the Bison offense will trot back out here in the first quarter. Both teams trying to find success on 3rd down, and really for NDSU on their last offensive possession, it was that pitch that was fumbled that set them back.
Yeah, I wonder if Coach Ince is basically going to say, you know what, okay, we've been in some spread formations. It looks as if they are going to go more I-pro here with a power H-back behind the left tight end. So, you know, we went out here and we tried some different things and we got a little cute. Now let's just see if we can't run downhill.
Hunter Brozio is the fullback, and thought I heard a whistle before that play was snapped. It's going to be a short gain. It was TK Marshall that time with the carry for NDSU, junior from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Did carry twice against Indiana State last season, but only had 3 yards against the Sycamores. He's got 339 yards and 2 scores in 26 career games for NDSU.
And just so you know, I don't think you're going crazy, because I thought I heard a whistle as well. And if there's a whistle in the stands, obviously somebody needs to put it in their pocket.
Play action. Miller, plenty of time, trying to find his tight end. And man, that is about the 3rd drop I think we've seen by NDSU to start this game. Joe Stuffle that time was the intended target. Had 11 FBS offers out of high school. Extremely talented young man, just could not complete this catch to move the sticks.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of Stuffle. He's normally very reliable, and that would have been more than enough for a first down. You know, wonder you sometimes about just, I mean, for lack of a better word, it's not really jet lag, but you know, are they here yet? You know, have the North Dakota kids actually arrived yet mentally?
This is the first trip for anybody on this roster. It's been 5 years since they've come to Terre Haute. Quick screen out near side. Catch is made by DJ Hart, and he's got the first down. Hart speeds pass. As Hart, 8 of the 15 games a year ago. He's played in all 5, and that's his 4th reception of the year, and moves the sticks.
You're going to see some excellent blocking on the perimeter out here. A lot of guys down there. Number 12, Braylon Henderson, and then the big fella, 73, Mason Miller, was able to get there as well. You block on the perimeter, you have a tendency to move the football.
1st down and 10. It's the first down for NDSU today. First time converting on 3rd down as well. Miller gives it to Ganella. Big hole at the 40. Gets up near the 50 on the Indiana State side of the field before Ryland Cole able to get to him. Dominic Ganella, the biggest rush of the day for NDSU, gets them back in Indiana State territory.
Well, just it's just an inside zone play, or what we call middle zone. You're going to see they're going to go try to go basically off left tackle. Great job of getting it sealed there. Nice job. You saw the seal block. Looked like number 77. Brandon Westberg, I think, was there, who got that great block. And again, just luckily Cole takes a good pursuit angle if you're Indiana State and was able to run that down.
One of the differences in the game a year ago wasn't just turnovers, but it was big plays. NDSU, for 270 of their yards in the game, all came from just 5 plays from scrimmage. That is Lipke, and you can see all the hats to the football there. Coach Mallory talked about it. It's not just going to be one guy that's going to bring down Hunter Lipke. You're going to need multiple hats to the football.
Yeah, Jeffrey Brown gets in there first and was able to wrap up the ankle and then just hold on long enough for his mates to come by. But just real power football there. You have 5 offensive linemen, but you have all 4 backs in the backfield, including the quarterback. Great opportunity to run power.
See Logan Hofstad, one of the fullbacks and tight ends, nicknamed them the Crew Chiefs. How many decisions they have to make. That pass sails over the head of Zach Mathis. Had a really strong start to this season. 8 receptions, 112 yards last year. Already 6 receptions, 127 yards, and 2 scores this year. Missed all the spring due to an injury, but now NDSU. The lone third down you saw it they converted on was earlier on this drive. It's 3rd down and 8. Williams the lone tailback for NDSU. Raja Nelson in the slot on the near side. Looking for his tight end, and this time it is caught, but just a hair short of the first down sticks. Stuffle corralled it in. It's 4th and inches. You're kind of in the middle of no man's land here, but I think they're going to go big boy football and just try to get this inch.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to go for it on 4th down here. You're going to see the replay. Really good coverage there by Indiana State. Just a nice ball and a nice catch. Hard to defend.
So NDSU brings in Brosio, brings in multiple of their fullbacks to try to block their way here. They just need an inch. 4th down and inches. It's Luke Waters, the fullback. It's a pitch to Lipke, and he's got it easily. A helmet flew off for Indiana State. That was Trayvon Purdy's helmet. Gets down near the 25-yard line. It will be the 26. Trayvon Purdy starting for what would be Chris Reed's spot, but he had a targeting penalty against UNI and misses the first half of this game.
Well, you see it in the replay there. I mean, obviously they toss, they get more than enough. Cam Miller, the quarterback, probably could have gone right A gap. It was open. Sometimes they'll just kind of pat the center and say, hey, I'm following you. And the center can look up and find the open A gap and just go get the half yard that you need.
Ganella back in at tailback at a 27-yard carry on this drive earlier. He looks for an open hole. He's got it near the 10, staying on his feet and fumbles into the end zone. It is loose, and it looks like Indiana State's recovered. And it's Bilal Kone, the cornerback, who picks up the loose ball.
Big break for the Sycamores there. That was a huge gain, and once again a great block by Brandon Westbrook. He started the game at center because Sundown could not go. He's having a heck of a football game offensively, but how about Kone being at the right place at the right time?
We told you Ganella has had a fumbling issue at times this year. And Dominic Ganella, let's see if he is down. Ooh, that is close. It was ruled a fumble on the field. Right now, the Indiana State offense is coming back out. And yeah, you got to take another look at this.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. And again, in real-time speed there, it's hard to say exactly, even on the replay. So we'll see what they decide.
Now, one thing to keep in mind is our head official, Jason Perkins, will head over and review. There's actually 12 cameras today that are available for our replay booth. WDAY from North Dakota is here producing this game as well. So they have all 8 of their camera angles as well as our 4 angles. Let's take a look at what our angles we have. And look at the strip on the back end. Does the ball start to come out prior to being down? Elbow not down yet. He's down on a Sycamore. Now the elbow's down, and the ball looks out.
It does to me too. Again, just a little bit, not much, but the ball's clearly moving. Very, very difficult call, even with that, and that's a pretty good angle right there.
Yes, and what's funny is that is the angle that the WDAY does not have. So we have that angle. Our replay booth does. That is clearly our best angle. Really great job by our crew. and I think it's going to be tough to overturn. Let's listen in to Jason Perkins.
The ruling on the field has been confirmed. Indiana State, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Well, Dominic Ganella, we told you, had that critical fumble against South Dakota that gave the Coyotes a lead. Well, right now that has been the issue here early for NDSU and a turnover, and this year that is only the 5th turnover for NDSU.
Well, and Coach Ince talked about how one of the reasons of their success is they don't turn the ball over. They don't make mistakes. And Ganella obviously needs to fix that problem or he's not going to play a lot.
Michael Hoppert, his first action this year, and he loses the football on his first snap, but luckily Justin Dinka falls on it in front of him. Hoppert has had a plethora of injury issues to start off this year, has not had a ton of practice time, and maybe that could be a part of it there, trying to get it from Jackson Byrne.
Well, we'll see if he takes his eyes off of it a little bit. Maybe the snap surprised him a little bit. And yeah, I think he was moving his head just a little bit as the ball was still in the air. You got to catch a football with your eyes. Everyone says, yeah, catch it with your hands, right? No, you catch it with your eyes. You got to see it into your hands.
Cade Chambers at Indiana State. Chambers 0 for 4 to start this game. That one's completed, but a really high hit on the back end from NDSU's defense. But Dakota Caton will make it 3rd and manageable here for ISU. I believe it was Dawson Weber who delivered the hammer.
Yeah, again, really nice pitch and catch there. And you're right, Weber does kind of get your attention a little bit there when he hits it.
Typically when Cade Chambers has come in these type of situations this year, he has kept it himself. T. Hodge, who's his high school teammate, is now in at tailback. Indiana State trying to move the sticks for the first time on a 3rd down today. 0 for 3. Hendricks is the man in motion. Give to Hodge. Big open hole. He's got one man to beat. He can't beat him, but he will move the sticks. T. Hodge nearly had his first career touchdown if he was able to make one Bison miss on the back end. Fresh set of downs for Indiana State with no score under 3 minutes to go, first quarter.
Well, again, a really nice big hole by this offensive line there. Nice kick out block right there as well. And just again, you hear the term touchdown saving tackle a lot. That one really was. That was Marquise Siegel who saved a touchdown for the Bison.
How about Henry Woodcock? Gets that nice block to help T. Hodge eventually spring free. 2:30 left. Chambers just completed a pass, and he's got another one. It's Kevin Barnett with wide open space and gets in NDSU territory. Cade Chambers has completed his last 2 passes after starting the game 0 for 4. Indiana State now on the NDSU side of the 50 for the first time.
And that's what having a running game can do for you, Luke. I mean, when you run the football and you have success, it's 1st and 10. You run play action. You're going to get 9 defenders reacting to the run, and then you're going to have people running free in the secondary. Really nice play, a nice call by Coach Beth.
Indiana State with a little bit of pace here. Indiana State last week possessed the football for 35 minutes at Northern Iowa. That was a 10-minute advantage of time of possession. There's Dante Hendrickson. Move the sticks and move up in the record books. Dante Hendricks surpasses 2,000 career receiving yards, becoming only the 4th Indiana State player all time.
Yet another play action pass on 1st down. You're starting to make some hay there as the Sycamores are going to go ahead and substitute. Ethan Chambers is in the ball game.
Ethan Chambers at receiver. As Cade Chambers, no relation, in the pistol. Indiana State hasn't led against North Dakota State in a game since that 2012 win back in the Fargo Dome 10 years ago. Dinka looking for the lead in a big run, carrying a Bison down to the 15-yard line, and it's Indiana State chilling a little NDSU rushing attack here on this drive. 1st down and 10 at the 15-yard line.
Just a great drive so far. Let's see if you can finish. That's the key to the whole thing.
Finish. Coach Mallory said that multiple times to us in our conversation this week. Indiana State got into the red zone multiple times. 6 times to be exact against UNI. Only 1 touchdown to show for it. First trip to the red zone today. Sycamores have only scored on 7 of their 11 previous opportunities. 2 were touchdowns. Nearing the end of the first quarter, and now timeout is called by head coach Kurt Mallory.
Their first timeout.
So Indiana State.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
We'll take a little bit of a breather here, but how about this drive? More importantly for Indiana State trying to capitalize, too, off of the North Dakota State turnover.
Well, we talked in the pregame, Luke, how important it is to just get better and get better. And, don't give up. These kids have obviously not given up. It hasn't gone their way much this season. But, yeah, one of the things I also like, too, is right after that last play, that big run, Dante Hendricks was out the outside and just saying, let's go, let's go, let's go. He didn't even have a football, right? I don't, has he touched it yet today or not? But everybody wants him. Everybody just wants to go. Now, coach obviously saw something he didn't like. Maybe the play clock was getting down to 0. They didn't have the play in. He didn't want to risk a penalty. Or maybe the way that North Dakota State lined up defensively, he didn't like the play calls that they had possible with those formations. So go ahead and take the timeout. This is a big possession.
Dante Hendricks, 31 straight games with a catch with that reception on this drive to put him over 2,000 yards. Is now Chambers will be in the gun with Dinka, who's now got 34 yards, majority of them on this drive. Dinka waits momentarily, but a good tackle there by NDSU. Nick Kubitz comes in, the junior from Dubuque, Iowa. Had a season high 7 tackles last week against Youngstown State.
Indiana State tried to run power left, brought the right guard around, and just unfortunately Kubitz was able to get under that block and make a play.
That will be the final play of the first quarter. It's been mistake-filled through the glasses of NDSU. For Indiana State, from their perspective, it's been a hard-fought first 15 minutes. Still no score. Indiana State will try to finish in the end zone when we come back on the Valley on ESPN.
For a special presentation as we honor the
No score through 15 minutes. First time Bison have not been able to get on the scoreboard in the first quarter in this series with Indiana State since 2012. Here, Indiana State sticking out in 12. They're inside the NDSU 20. Their first trip in the red zone today. NDSU was knocking on the doorstep at this same spot of the field, but a fumble started this drive. Chambers keeps it himself, but stays on his feet. The 6'5" quarterback bangs his way to at least get positive yards inside the 15, down to the 14-yard line. Indiana State can get a fresh set of downs if they can get it to the 5.
Really nice play call there. I like the play call. It was kind of a quarterback power. Luckily for North Dakota State, Tony Pierce was there to kind of just trip him up a little bit again until the rest of his teammates came over and cleaned him up. But if Pierce is not there, he gets a full head of steam. He goes a long way.
Tice Farrell, the offset tight end to the top of your screen. Indiana State searching for its first lead against the Bison in over 10 years. Chambers to the air, finds Hendricks, finds the end zone, and the first lead for Indiana State over NDSU since they upset the Bison in Fargo 10 years ago. And it's the first wide receiver to score a touchdown this year for Indiana State. The last since number 8 did it a year ago against Southern Illinois. His first touchdown of his senior season.
Still making hay with that play action pass here. Again, there's just enough. All right, it just kind of hesitates. Good route. And then just finish the drive, finish the run, finish.
And Indiana State is going for 2. There's only been one game this season out of Indiana State's 4 games. They've only attempted a PAT in one of them.
Seems to be a little bit of confusion there. They don't have the right personnel on the field.
The previous play is under review.
And they're going to review it. You know, the NDSU or the Indiana State offense was staying on the field, and I'd be very curious of why you would want to go for 2 here to start off the second quarter. Unless, as Coach Leisure mentioned, there was communication of possibly being down on the field. But they're going to go take another look at it. Our crew, they're working hard to give you a look. I mean, it clearly seemed like Dante Hendricks was able to stay on his feet and get into the end zone. Now, the call on the field, I believe, was a touchdown, right? They called a touchdown on the field.
I did see the linesman on the far side. The north top of your screen did signal touchdown. I did not see the guy at the bottom.
All right, let's see from this is, of course, our up-high camera. You're not really going to get a great view at where the ball is at. Doesn't look like the knee is down yet for Dante Hendricks, and his forward body is in the end zone.
Yeah, he's into the end zone.
On the field stands. Touchdown.
Yeah, again, it was just going to be about the knee, but his whole body he was into his waist.
Coach Mallory with a huge fist pump on the near sideline. Indiana State has punched it in and has capitalized on a drive that started back at their own 20-yard line. An 80-yard drive, and Indiana State is going to go for 2. So Indiana State stays in. Justin Dinka, the lone tailback in the pistol. Tice Farrell and Dante Hendricks at the bottom of your screen. Barnett and Caton, the 2 lone receivers type. Caton will go in motion. Chambers looks near side. He's pressured. He's got to get rid of it. He just lobbed it into the air to try to get anybody near it. But the 2-point conversion fails. Indiana State, with 14-10 left in the second quarter, have a lead against the Bison on the Valley on ESPN.
Well, standing right behind the end zone when that fumble happened, it looked to be a for sure North Dakota State touchdown, but the ball came out, and the first guy leading the pack to jump on it was Bilal Kone, but the first guy on the sidelines hopping up to cheer them on was head coach Kurt Mallory. He came out firing, fist pumping and high-fiving his guys. It's exactly what this defense needed to keep the Bison scoreless in the first 15 minutes and then go on and capitalize, score, and now they lead in the second quarter.
Kelsey having to stay a little bit warmer on the sidelines today. A little bit of a chilly afternoon. But man, a lot of energy on that Indiana State sideline. As she mentioned, Coach Leisure, big boost for Indiana State here early. Now it's back on the Indiana State defense as Steven Ruiz with yet another touchback. This season, Ruiz has had a touchback on now 7 of his 12 kickoffs. So NDSU will come back out, and so far, Dominic Ganella has really had a tough day running the football for NDSU. He had a big run for 24 yards on that previous drive, and he had another one that looked like was going to set them up for a score, but a critical fumble sparked that drive for Indiana State.
Coaches have to have confidence in their players, regardless whether it's a quarterback, wide receiver, left tackle, whoever. And you got to have confidence in your kids to hang on to the football, and if they can't or they won't, they just can't play. It's as simple as that. We'll see how that progresses.
It's going to be Tamarick Williams, who's got his hands on knees with those yellow Bison gloves. Play action to Williams. Miller's, he can run it. He'll keep it himself. Just trying to find any sort of positive yards before Jeffrey Brown was the first Sycamore to initially meet him. Miller this year at times has showcased his legs. We also haven't seen Cole Payton either. Cole Payton, their number 2 on the depth chart, can also come in and run the football as well.
Yeah, it looked like every time I saw film of Peyton in the football game, he always ran it. And again, I don't have all their film, so I don't know if that's always the case. But a little bit of a tendency there. He's definitely their running quarterback guy.
Miller in the eye. NDSU trying to respond after an Indiana State touchdown. Going big time, near side, jump ball, sideline, incomplete. Fighting for it was Malik Chapman. Defensively for Indiana State, he was going up with DJ Hart, who had a reception earlier today to move the sticks. That one would have flipped the field.
Miller's pass is
had plenty of time to throw it, and again, the ball just hung up just enough, really, where it kind of turned into a kind of a cat fight or a jump ball, and a little bit of a break for Indiana State because he had plenty of time to throw.
Chapman transferred from the University of Charleston in his first year in a secondary that's also been hampered by injuries. Third down, quick pitch to Nelson, I believe, in the backfield, and he goes nowhere. It is a stop, and Giannini Belazier will force NDSU to punt 2 minutes in to the second quarter.
Well, really nice job by the defensive end there. I believe it was Casey Miller, number 98, who just came down. And what he does is he forces that ball back inside. He just fights, and makes it go back inside right there. And by doing it, that's where all the ugly people live. They live in there, right? Nice job by Miller of force. They did not want to go there. They wanted to go to the perimeter.
Steindorf gets a bad punt off, but it's going to take an NDSU bounce, and a really good NDSU bounce. And we'll go inside the 35-yard line, where we'll be down Hunter Brosio, who's their fullback and long snapper. What a combination for Brosio. Indiana State will try to add to a 6-0 lead when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please.
Indiana State with the early lead over the #1 Bison in Terre Haute. Cade Chambers with a touchdown pass to Dante Hendricks. It was Hendricks' first touchdown this season. The first touchdown scored by an Indiana State wide receiver this season. Chambers will begin with his high school teammate T. Hodge to his near hip. Caton and Hendricks, the lone receivers here at the bottom of your screen. Harry Van Dyne at the top. That will be T. Hodge, the Tennessee transfer. Plunges ahead, gets a few yards. But the recipe for Indiana State a week ago to stay in that game in the Unidome, Coach Leisure, despite getting down 17-3, they possessed the football. They had long drives. They were able to sustain those drives. Again, for only the 4th time under head coach Kurt Mallory, Indiana State possessed the football for over 35 minutes.
Well, you talk to any coach at any level, and that's the recipe. They always say protect football, eliminate big plays, finish drives. That's how you win. And so far right now, North Dakota State's not really doing much of any of those things. They're not protecting the football. They haven't been able to sustain drives. Indiana State, to a certain degree, has.
Hodge gets met by white jerseys and no gain there. Up front, NDSU able to limit. As Indiana State will make some subs here. Carter Heron will come in. Changed his number to 48, now an eligible number. Will just be an extra lineman that you'll see to the left of Keegan Trost.
And North Dakota State's lined up in what looks like cover 2, but they brought Michael Tutsi down each snap, and they're kind of rolling their coverages a little bit, but they're using Tutsi as an extra hat in the box.
And now a timeout's going to be called by Matt Ince. It will be the first timeout burned here by NDSU.
Timeout. North Dakota State. Their first timeout of the half.
It will be a media timeout as well. So when we come back, it's going to be 3rd down and 8 for Indiana State. Try to put back-to-back scoring drives together, leading 6-0. Indiana State with the early lead here over NDSU. It's 3rd down and 8. Sycamores converted on 2 3rd downs on their previous scoring drive. This is the first one here. 3 receivers to the bottom of your screen. Hendricks, Caton, and Van Dyne in order. It's Tice Farrell, the tight end back there to help protect Cade Chambers. Chambers overthrows Dakota Caton, the intended receiver. Would have had to turn it upfield and try to get some positive yards. But it falls incomplete, and Indiana State will send Harry Traum back out to punt.
Looks like Traum will have a little bit of wind behind his back, so you want to try to hit the ball high and let the wind take it.
Traum today already with 3 punts. All that were back in the first quarter. Traum here. This one called out. Peter call by NDSU. Drops down. Jane Price telling everybody to get away, and NDSU will have it at their own 25-yard line. Another media timeout. NDSU will try to respond when we come back.
Don't forget to download the Sycamores March On app, available.
"169 weeks in a row that NDSU has been in the top 25. They're the #1 team in the country, facing a 6-point deficit here on the road at Memorial Stadium. They've never lost in this series against Indiana State. And we were just talking about him. Hunter Lipke gets the carry. He's been quiet so far today. 3 attempts for 14 yards prior to that carry. And for more on Hunter and those fullbacks and big old tight ends for NDSU, here's Kelsey Casper.
Talking a little bit more about this Bison offense, one play that got a lot of attention last week was a Hunter Lipke touchdown where North Dakota State had 4 fullbacks, yes, 4, line up for that scoring play. I asked Coach Entz about it. He says he's just utilizing the talented group he has. They're strong and they're selfless. He also added a funny story, saying once a week position coaches are in charge of snacks for their group. Most guys, yeah, they want chips, they want cookies, but not this group. All they want is meat and cheese. Yes, a meat and cheese platter. He says they are the epitome of football guys, and you can't get better than that, guys.
Coach Leisure, he also talked about not just how that embodies it with those snack choices, but for them to be who they are, it all starts up front, and it starts with the crew chiefs and the tight end room and those fullbacks.
Yeah, again, we talked earlier, just what a great luxury that is for a coach and a coaching staff to have that many guys who truly are good players but understand their role and play as a team.
North Dakota State has only converted on 1 third down today. This is 3rd and short, and initially met by Lucas Hunter, but just enough to get the first down and move the sticks for NDSU. It'll be Tamarick Williams, their running back. They'll move the sticks and keep the chains moving here for NDSU.
Number 22,
just joined us, Indiana State went for 2 after their touchdown to Dante Hendricks. So they did not miss a PAT, or if you're just joining us thinking there's 2 field goals, Indiana State's got 1 touchdown. They tried to go for 2. Here NDSU hasn't been inside the Indiana State red zone since that fumble by Ganella back in the first quarter. This is Williams, open hole, gets to the 50, and how about Lucas Hunter? The defensive lineman's got to be the one that brings him down on the ISU half of the 50. Williams now starting to eat up some yards, as he only had 5 yards on 3 carries prior to this drive.
It looks to me like Coach Entz has decided really to just simplify things. That was just a variation of the old buck sweep. Pull both the guards. First one kicks out, the second one turns up, and the back follows the second guy, and just pretty basic old-fashioned football play. And that seems to be right now what works best for them.
Only 2 receivers to the field side, the top of your screen. Finds Hunter Lipke, nearly made a man miss, but Khalil Davis with an impressive leg tackle of Hunter Lipke. Khalil, defensive back, sophomore out of Newport, Kentucky.
Got to know where Lipke is, regardless of where he lines up at tight end or fullback, H, wherever. Got to know where that kid is.
He's got 18 touchdowns in his last 12 games. There's Lipke again, and Matt Ryland Cole this time. It's a short gain, but it's going to be 3rd down and short for NDSU. Roughly 3rd down and 2.
Miller's pass is complete once again to number 44.
Well, we talked about it, Luke, how they have all kinds of weapons, North Dakota State does. Wouldn't surprise me at all if you go right back to number 44. He seems to be the guy that can make things happen for it.
Well, it looks like he's out of the game right now for NDSU. On 3rd and short, Miller keeps it himself. Ryland Cole tries to bring him down before the first down, but he just got enough, it appears, unless it's a bad spot. Ooh, it's right at, looks a little short.
Yeah, it could be a good spot. I just looked to me like maybe he had enough momentum. Again, we don't really, from we're in the press box a million miles away, it's hard to see where his knee and the ball are.
Inches for the Bison.
So the ball's right there on the stripe.
It's 4th and inches. Matt Entz standing right next to our far official at the line. I don't think he likes the spot either, but Miller will be under center. 4th and inches. Miller just QB sneaks it and easily gets the first down to the 35. So NDSU fans, those hearts can calm down just a tad if it was a bad spot. NDSU picks up the first down at the 35 of Indiana State.
New set of downs for North Dakota State here to try to keep this drive alive. And again, they've been here before where they've gotten inside Indiana State territory and they've turned the football over. If you're the Sycamore defense, you want to have somebody step up and make a play. Somebody's got to do something spectacular here to stem this momentum.
First time we've seen Miller in an empty set, all by himself. Fires it far sideline. Be another short game for NDSU, but moves it up 5 more yards. Hunter Lipke on the reception for NDSU. Matt Entz, 41-5 in his 4th season at the helm He's been a part of 7 Valley Football Conference titles, 6 national championships. NDSU, the reigning national champs. They've won 9 FCS national titles in the last decade, since 2010. Miller, give to Lipke. Lipke open hole, and he nearly broke that one, but Khalil Davis saves what would have been a bigger gain and potentially a touchdown. NDSU now marching into the red zone. 1st and 10 at the Indiana State 20.
Well, definitely a power formation here. You have an I formation, but you also got 2 backs off to the side in the backfield, those fullbacks, tight ends we talked about, and you're just basically overpowering people at the point of attack. Just too many human beings for the defense to have to stop it.
Miller in the gut of TK Marshall. Marshall tackled for a loss. Lucas Hunter for Indiana State, who has now played in 28 straight games, dating all the way back to the season opener in 2019 at Kansas.
So after running the ball downhill really and doing it well, they've decided to kind of be a little bit more lateral with the mid zone. I just think that North Dakota State's better served with those. The offensive lineman now, again, Sundel is out. So he's normally a starter, but between the 5 offensive linemen, they had 207 starts combined. I think I'd just run forward.
Play action. Pressure, and it goes down. Jaron Johnson with the sack for Indiana State, the first in his career.
Huge play, and he comes untouched here again. Not fooled by the play action at all. You can see kind of put it in his belly, and great call by the defense. Great call by Coach Wilson. And there's actually 2 guys there.
And Jaron Johnson was pointing to his hand. I don't know if he hurt a finger, but it's 3rd and 18. And Indiana State trying to push NDSU back, leading by 6. Miller, all time to throw. Raja Nelson makes the grab, short of the first down, but gets a lot of much needed yards back to attempt a field goal try here for Griffin Crosa.
Well, Crosa has been perfect so far, 24-24 on PATs, 4 for 4 on field goals along a 32.
This will be roughly 34 yards from the near hash. Again, Hunter Brosio, who's their fullback, is also their long snapper. Steindorfer the hold. Kick had plenty of leg, and it splits the uprights, and North Dakota State gets a field goal, and Crosa makes his 18th field goal in his career, now 18 of 22. Well, now it's Indiana State 6, North Dakota State 3. Again, if you're just joining us, Indiana State head coach Kirk Mallory elected to go for 2 after their touchdown here in the first half. At the start of the second half, a touchdown pass to Dante Hendricks. But Indiana State will have 3:34 to work with, and kind of one of those things to spotlight to Coach Leisure as we creep closer to halftime. Indiana State has never lost a game under head coach Kirk Mallory when they've led heading into the halftime locker room. Sycamores are a perfect 13-0 when they can take a halftime lead, when they are 3-29 when trailing.
Well, you got 3.5 minutes here, and there is such thing that basically it's called a 4-minute offense, similar to a 2. You're in a little bit of a hurry, but you want to basically use as much clock as you can and hopefully score with little to no time left.
See Coach Mallory there. That sweatshirt, by the way, is honoring the 1972 Indiana State team that is here today, the 50-year anniversary. It was one of the main ISU logos they used back in '72 on their apparel that they would wear. Here's Dakota Caton, big open hole, needs a block to stay on his feet and gets near the midfield stripe. Dakota Caton, on his first ever career touch in an Indiana State uniform, took a punt return to the house against Quincy back in 2018. There, he just needed about one more block, one more clean block to potentially take it to the house.
Well, I can't really, there you see the wedge kind of breaking up, but some really nice blocks by everybody. They had about 5 guys standing next to each other, and then it just kind of came out and exploded like a starburst, and everybody got a hat on a hat. Nice job.
First down and 10 for Indiana State. Leading 6-3, one touchdown drive already for the Sycamores. Cade Chambers, who started the game 0 for 4, has completed 4 of his last 5 passes. Play action, pumping, looking for Hendricks. He is held repeatedly down the field, and that is clearly pass interference, and he'll move the sticks. Courtney Eubanks is the one who will commit the infraction.
Yeah, Courtney will just tell you, you know what, sometimes when you're beat, don't give up the big touchdown. Just grab his shirt. Hey, look, everybody, I'm holding, right? And just take the penalty.
Pass interference. Defense, number 1. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
And how true is that even more in the college game, because in the professional game, that's a spot foul.
Correct.
Here, it's just 15 yards.
Absolutely. It's a 15-yard gain instead of a touchdown, and that clearly would have been, and it didn't even look like, again, like he was even trying to hide it. He was just like, look, I'm beat. Let's just, y'all can have your 15 yards, but you ain't getting 6.
Hendricks so far today, he surpassed 2,000 career yards earlier. He's got 2 receptions for 25.
Once again, though, Luke, a play action pass on first down.
NDSU will get the ball to start the second half, and it's nearly intercepted, but it hits the turf on the back end, jumping right in front of Dante Hendricks. Give credit to NDSU reading that one, Oscar Benson.
Well, you can go to the well too many times here. Again, this is, again, first down, play action. And obviously Benson decides, okay, I've seen enough of this to know. Now, what you can run there is what we call a sluggo, where it's a slant route and then go. So pump the slant and send him straight up the field, sluggo, and see if you can't hit the home run.
Eleventh time in Indiana State's history facing the number 1 team in the country, 1-9. In their previous 10 matchups, looking for Hendricks again, fighting for it, and somehow is called incomplete, but he thinks he caught it. Coach Mallory's going to be begging for a review. This could be an SC top 10 play. They're now going to chat it over. Let's see what they officially call it here.
Well, it might be time for replay official Darwin Schaefer to earn his money here, because Dante, I mean, again, a lot of times you can tell players.
They say it's a catch.
Yes, you can tell by their reaction. It's like, oh, no, please.
Let's see how Dante Hendricks makes the impossible possible. Deflected, kicked it up with his hand. That's a catch.
Oh, 100%.
That is a catch.
There's
My
nothing
goodness.
about that's not a catch.
And that is why you're going to see Dante Hendricks on Sundays. He just makes plays. First and goal at the 8. They look for him again. He's got 1 touchdown today. Looking for 2, but he lost the ball going out of bounds. But Indiana State will maintain possession. It'll be second down and goal near the 2.
You know, we talked this week to Coach Maurer, and he said that Dante Hendricks was one of only 2 players in his tenure that was a unanimous captain. And then we talked to Coach Anson. He just said, look, Dante Hendricks is the kind of kid, he's going to win one-on-one battles. He's going to win jump balls.
Complete to number 8, Hendricks.
And he's just showing both men are right.
The other one, that was a unanimous team captain, is in the NFL. Jonas Griffith, starting linebacker for the Denver Broncos. Tice Farrell in at the tailback spot, the tight end. Ethan Chambers is the man in motion. He's going to block for Chambers, looking for the end zone, and he's just short by a yard.
Well, that's a play that Chambers has run a lot this season. Normally when they put him in the ballgame, that's kind of what he's there to do. Got just right there. I thought maybe his momentum might carry him in, but I do think he was short.
Third down and goal at the 1-yard line. Indiana State looking for their second offensive touchdown of the game, and Chambers has got it. His first career touchdown puts Indiana State ahead of the number 1 team in the country, 12-3.
Well, once again, Farrell in the backfield there, and he just delivers this. They ran the same play. They're like, guys, we almost got it in there. Let's run it again. But Farrell's the lead blocker. He's just going to kick somebody out. You see him there, number 44. He's just hunting. There he is. Boom. Kick him out. Touchdown.
The only one that tripped him up was himself. Going into the end zone.
Tripped over the goal line.
Into a tip to PAT, Ryan O'Grady. As Jaden Perry will snap it. And Anthony Beacom will hold. To put Indiana State up 10. And they are up 10. Only the second time this year where Indiana State has attempted a PAT in a game, 13-3. And now, barring any sort of tragic 2:29 for Indiana State, they're going to go into the locker room with a halftime lead.
Yeah, again, it would take 2 scores, obviously, but there's 2 minutes and 29 seconds. That's a lot of football time, and this is an awfully good offensive football team in North Dakota State. Would not surprise me if they come out. You got to mix the run with the pass, though. They can't get too cute. There's plenty of time. There's lots of different ways you can stop the clock on offense. You got 2 timeouts as well.
And these leads, as we told you about Coach Leisure, North Dakota State likes to eat up a lot of clock as well. So for either team today, that's why if you could get out to a lead or a multiple possession lead because of how you play and what your DNA is, you're just going to eat up a lot of clock because of what you like to do offensively.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, in the first quarter, it looked like North Dakota State had a little bit of an advantage time-wise, about 2 minutes more than Indiana State. I don't have the stat in front of me right now, but I'm going to guess Indiana State probably has the advantage in this quarter. So it'll be interesting to see.
So Stephen Ruiz. Well, there are a lot of shocked people watching this one right now. North Dakota State, though, they're not unfamiliar to being down at halftime in the Valley this year. Again, they were trailing in Dakota Dome to South Dakota. This one's going to be taken 5 yards deep in the end zone and plenty of room and a nice return. He's got about a 35-yard return, counting the 5 yards deep in the end zone for NDSU.
And Ruiz, the kicker, makes the tackle there. Nice job. I mean, does a nice job. Sometimes kickers are just out there. They have no desire to get involved in this thing. But he went down there and put his hat on somebody, and it's a good thing he did. Otherwise, that young man could still be running.
One of the key phrases or one of the key things that Coach Mallory mentioned to us was the best defense is a fresh defense. And right now, that's what Indiana State's had here for the majority of the first half. And talking about that emotion on the sideline, Kelsey, it's got to be a huge boost of energy for Indiana State.
Guys, Indiana State doing a great job of stringing big plays together. Dante Hendricks, what a catch to get these guys into the end zone. Cade Chambers leans it over and everyone goes nuts. Players, assistant coaches, head coaches, even the fans, everyone's on their feet as this team is doing what Coach Mallory wants them to do and converting in the red zone against one of the best defenses in the country.
You mentioned it, Kelsey, one of the best defenses in the country. One of the bugaboos for NDSU's defense this year. They have allowed red zone scores on every red zone trip heading into this season. Right now, it's their offense with a 2nd down and 9 after a short gain by Lipke. This is Williams. Williams staying on his feet. Oh, and he's got a big hole. Ryland Cole trying to chase him down, but he stiffs arms out of bounds. Man, Tamarick Williams gets a much-needed run there for the Bison.
Well, the Sycamores, they blitz Jeffrey Brown off the corner, and that really is the area that he kind of vacates. You're going to see on the replay, hopefully. It'll be interesting to see where he steps out of bounds because I thought he was out of bounds. See, you saw Brown overrun it. They blitzed him. Nice call. He just wasn't able to get there.
Looks like stepped out.
About the 31.
About the 31. They're going to spot it 3 yards up from that at the Indiana State 28-yard line. It's one of the fullbacks, Logan Hofstad, in motion. And NDSU will play 4, and now a timeout is going to be called by Indiana State as Coach Mallory will bring his defense over.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
If you look at that neon yellow ball cap, that's Brad Wilson, the defensive coordinator for Indiana State. He's in his 6th year. He's been here every season under head coach Kurt Mallory, and that was even a tip of the cap from Coach Ince when we asked him about the improvement for Indiana State. He said, look, defensively, they know who they are now. Right. He said they look much better, and he said that's a tip of the cap to Coach Wilson.
Yeah, he said you could tell that the kids were much more comfortable in playing Coach Wilson's system. He said no more guys that, played 2 years under the old system and terminology, and the old coach wanted us to do it this way. He said these are Coach Wilson's kids, and you can start to tell. And and you're right, he is the defense coordinator. He's out there coaching them up. The first guy that was out there on that field at that timeout, Coach Mallory. I mean, I thought he was going into the game. I'm like, Coach, you got no pads on, man. Get off. Plus, you're like 50 years old. Get off the field.
Coach Mallory has preached with his team: stay together, stick together, focus on getting better and improving. They felt like they did that a week ago at UNI, And right now, lead it by 10. With a minute 41 till the halftime break. Miller, give it right, play action. Looks far side, has a wide open man. It is caught near the end zone. The ball gets popped out, but the catch is going to be hauled in there for NDSU. And it looked like it was Jake Lippy. Not Lipke, but Lippy makes the grab for NDSU. It'll be first and goal inside the 3.
Yeah, you just got to see what happens here. Omar Jackson, defensive back, just kind of gets turned around. They were in a straight cover 3. They had 4 down linemen, rushed 4, had 4 linebackers getting into coverage, and he just got tied up.
Clock will run as the ball was fumbled forward out of bounds. So Miller and NDSU trying to get in the pay dirt for the first time today. It was a high snap, but Williams hurdles his way into pay dirt, and North Dakota State answers the Indiana State touchdown drive with a much-needed touchdown drive of their own. 1:19 left in the opening half.
Yeah, Tamarick Williams showing some great patience and vision here. The ball's kind of going to the right A gap, but he realizes there's not much there, so he kind of kicks it back outside. You see it right there. Goes where basically goes where nobody's standing.
There's 2 linemen just laying down on the field in front of him with an open hole. Crosa's PAT makes it 13-10 with a minute 19 left. Indiana State has 1 timeout left. North Dakota State has only burned 1 of their 3 timeouts, so they have 2 timeouts left with a minute 19 till halftime. Well, let's look at this from the NDSU angle. It's been anything but a clean half for that man and Matt Ensign as head coach. But man, that's a response you needed. You get down 10, that's a response of a team that is used to being a championship team and finding a way to win on the road, which North Dakota State has done 48 times since 2011.
Yeah, it's an impressive statistic, and again, but that's what North Dakota State did. That was what you saw right there was North Dakota State football. Haven't seen it really yet until that drive, but that's what they're capable of doing. Everyone knows that they can do it. Now you got to just go out and do it if you're North Dakota State.
Will Cardinal will kick off here for NDSU. Indiana State will have Dakota Caton and Maddox Blackwell back deep. Caton had a really nice return his last time he was able to get a kickoff opportunity. So North Dakota State answered with a scoring drive of their own. And Dakota Caton will signal for a fair catch and will bring it out to the 25-yard line here for Indiana State. So for Indiana State with a minute 19 left, we mentioned they only have 1 timeout. So you're relatively pretty conservative in what you do here, knowing, of course, you have a 13-10 lead, and keep in mind, NDSU will have the football to start the second half.
Well, you got to still run some football plays because North Dakota State can take some timeouts. So, you want to be conservative, but I'll tell you what, I feel like I would run a play-action pass on first down and try to get 10 or 15, maybe get a little closer to midfield. It's a little risky, but I think I might try it.
Turnovers were a problem for Indiana State to start the season. Only 1 last week. Here's Dinka. He's going to carry it for a first down. Clock will stop at a minute 13. It'll be a gain of 11 for Indiana State.
Tom Jones on the tackle. His helmet came off, so he's got to come off for a play per rule.
Tackled by number 10, Jones.
Indiana State, to get in the field goal range, really needs the field goal try to be within 40 yards. I feel like they have a legit chance, or a really good chance, at getting points before the end of half. Dinka will run again. And staying on his feet. He's taking a lot of hats, having to get to the football to bring down Justin Dinka. Indiana State will have to run at least another play. Assuming North Dakota State does not burn
number 27,
any of their timeouts here with 44 seconds.
5-yard pickup, second down.
Chambers will pass. He's got room to run if he wants to. First down and slides if they're getting the first down. So now it appears Indiana State will burn their last time out near the midfield stripe.
Yeah, I mean, you're at midfield here. You got time to take a look at some things, talk about some things, and hopefully try to get it downfield a little bit more. And like you said, that field goal opportunity is kind of there.
Would this drive maybe be dictated different if you knew you were getting the football to start the second half?
Certainly. I mean, here's an opportunity for you to punch one in. And, you know, you always talk about, and I think Belichick at New England gets credit because they were kind of the first one to really make a big deal out of it. We like to score right before the half, and then they called it the double up, you know, and we like to double up. So now this is an opportunity for you to not only prevent a double up, clearly, but also go down and get some of the points that, you know, hopefully you don't give up in that first possession in the second half. But, yeah, put a little pressure on them, and you're probably going to see them air it out here a little bit. Because even if you don't get it and you stop the clock and incomplete passes, you know, you can always punt it down probably inside their 20, give them the ball with 20 seconds to go, you know, try to go 80 yards in 20 seconds. So Indiana State has a shot at it, and you might as well take it. I mean, honestly, in a season like this where it hasn't really gone your way, you might as well take the chances you get.
2 receivers to each side for Cade Chambers. On 1st and 10. Chambers running out of time, and now Indiana State also out of timeouts. See how quick Indiana State is here offensively. Play clock irrelevant at this point.
Chambers on the carry for the Sycamores, tackled by number 90, Pierce.
Pierce did a really good job there, defensive end, of staying with the play.
I think, and Coach Mallory, I think there's miscommunication here. Coach Mallory was asking him to go a little quicker. So this will be the last play of the half. And it's a short pass to Dante Hendricks, who gets the first down, but the clock has expired. I think there was some communication problems on the Indiana State sideline. But Indiana State, under head coach Kurt Mallory, that number you see there, a 13-10 lead, they are 13-0 when they lead at halftime. If that stat holds, there's going to be an upset in Paradise, but a long way to go here on the Valley on ESPN. An impressive opening half for Indiana State. 13-10 lead over the number 1 North Dakota State Bison. Indiana State trying to win their second game all time against the number 1 team in the country. Wabash Capital is proud to support the athletes at Indiana State. Wabash Capital is a dependent, locally owned fiduciary investment advisory firm managing money for individuals, profit-sharing plans, and rollover IRAs. Go Sycamores from Wabash Capital. Let's go ahead and take a look at the halftime stats brought to you by Riddell National Bank. And between these two teams, right now, Indiana State offensively has been able to move the ball for 175 yards, but that one turnover from NDSU is really what changed the complexion of that first half.
Without question, because it's one thing to turn the football over, it's another thing to turn it over when you're on the basically the cusp of the end zone, like they were. That ball went into the end zone and was recovered by Indiana State. So, you know, you kind of miss out on at least 3. I mean, assuming they can hold you and keep you out, but probably 7 there. That's a huge turnover.
Let's take a look at that fumble. We'll go to the first half highlights here. Coach Leisure, is a beautiful day as the Marching Sycamores performing. So the number 1 Bison early, able to get pressure on Cade Chambers. 3 and outs for both teams to really kind of feel this game out. It took Indiana State a little bit to get going offensively. Justin Dinka in the first half, 49 yards rushing. But here's the fumble that really changed the game.
Yeah, nice job by Konea getting on it there in the end zone. And then again, we see some offensive highlights here of the Sycamores getting down to the 1.
Dante Hendricks scoring on that play, and look at this catch. Dante Hendricks finds a way to deflect that football and keep it, even though it's incomplete. Now, that's a grab, and then a touchdown by Cade Chambers. That put Indiana State up by 10. But then give credit to Mark Williams, able to get it into the end zone, and NDSU has cut into the Indiana State lead, 13-10 here at halftime. We have plenty more coming up here at halftime, including a look around the Missouri Valley Football Conference when we come back. This is the Valley on ESPN. Future Sycamore Spirit Squad members, they have a lot to jump around about. 13-10 Indiana State over number 1 North Dakota State here at halftime. Plenty to go, though, here in the second half. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ISU Credit Union. Look around the Missouri Valley Football Conference today. Plenty of big games in the Valley that are going to dictate a lot of how the schedule will look out, specifically Southern Illinois, Missouri State. That's a game either way. The Bears really trying to end a dreaded losing skid right now and get back into playoff conversation. That was a team that was once in the top 5 of the FCS poll. Illinois State at Northern Iowa, but also one to figure out North Dakota. They've been so good at home there in Grand Forks. Can they find a way to take it on the road to Stanball Stadium, where this Indiana State team will be next weekend, and the Jackrabbits host Western Illinois, a game the Jackrabbits will be heavily favored in. But North Dakota State was heavily favored in this one. They have a halftime deficit, 13-10. We'll have comments from both head coaches when we come back from Kelsey Casper. This is The Valley on ESPN. Indiana State with the lead as we are about to begin the second half, 13-10. There's Dante Hendricks. What a first half he had. 4 receptions, 66 yards. An All-American, no question in the eyes of his teammates. Unanimous senior captain. As Indiana State will need a strong second half to find a way to knock off the #1 team in the country for the second time in program history. Well, speaking of North Dakota State and Indiana State, one person who was able to catch up with both head coaches in Matt Entz and Kurt Mallory was Kelsey Casper, who's here to provide us those updates. Kelsey?
Welcome back into the Valley on ESPN to start the second half. Indiana State up 13-10 over North Dakota State. I caught up with both head coaches at halftime. Coach Kurt Mallory obviously pleased with his offense and defense on this one. He says they're taking advantage of scoring opportunities and converting in the red zone. He likes what he's seeing from Cade Chambers in his first career start. Now the defense just has to show up for the second half. As for the Bison, they need to get their offense rolling. They're making some drops. All they need to do, he said, is make those catches and, of course, keep the pressure on defense in the second half. Guys?
Thank you, Kelsey. And that's a really good point that Coach Entz made. They had some completions, or that would have been completions, that were dropped. Of course, we really harped on the fumble by Ganella. Not fair to continue to harp on just that one lone mistake, but there were other mistakes in that first half that Coach Entz right there, he's had plenty of time here at halftime to readjust and talk it over with his staff.
Yeah, and again, if you're Coach Entz, you go in at halftime, you point out those things. Guys, we didn't appear like we were ready to play early. Lots of drops, lots of maybe bad routes and bad throws, missed tackles. But you know what? We still have now 30 minutes of football to make up for. Good news, bad news. Bad news, we're losing. Good news, we got to be better than that, right? We're the #1 team in the nation for a reason. We got to go out and play North Dakota State football.
Steven Ruiz with a deep boot. Raja Nelson right at the goal line. We'll bring it out. He had a nice return to set up that eventual scoring drive for NDSU. But Indiana State comes out and has good special teams coverage on that end. 13-10, Indiana State with a 3-point lead. Trying to knock off North Dakota State for the first time since 2012. And the irony of that game, they won that game without an offensive touchdown. 2 pick sixes. Johnny Tawala, a name that is still gives, I think, some nightmares to the Fargo faithful that are tuning in. So just underway here in the second half. If you're NDSU, what do you want to see offensively here in the second half? Because we did not say Hunter Lipke's name a ton. It was more through the air instead of on the ground.
Well, that's the biggest thing. You got to get the football into your best player's hands. I mean, he needs to touch it probably 20 times a game.
And that's who they give it to. And he'll pound his way. Gets near the 20-yard line. It'll be a gain of 3 for North Dakota State. Lipke in that first half, as we told you, 6 attempts, 34 yards. So he averaged nearly 6 yards per pop. Just didn't have more than 6 carries.
Well, that's just it. I mean, and coaches do that stuff. They keep track of that stuff. You know, they have drive charts and they have play charts, and you know, you have charts on kids, and it's like, if we had a young man getting 6 yards of carry and we're not handing him the football, there's a problem there.
2 receivers at the bottom of your screen. This is Williams, gets plenty of room and got the first down by about a yard. NDSU, that offensive front, you talked about the combined starts. Well, think about this. The 10 linemen that are listed in their two deep, 280 combined games out of those 10 linemen. So not only do you have guys who have started a lot, you just got guys who have played frequently and often for the green and yellow.
Well, and Coach Ince talked about that. He said that our offensive line, they're the face of our program. We run the football and we protect the quarterback. That's what we do. That's who we are. Well, use them. Run behind them.
Quick pass to Williams. Got to run a little wheel route there on the outside near the NDSU sideline. Gets positive yardage. NDSU has trailed the whole way so far, searching for its first lead here on this drive.
Williams is having a nice game. I mean, it's a young man that, was basically listed as the third on the depth chart, and because of an injury, got an opportunity to come in and play a little bit, as a number 2, but they've used him a lot today. He's a pretty good-looking kid.
Again, Kobe Johnson out today after an ankle injury a week ago. Carry near side. Big gainer again for NDSU. We'll get another fresh set of downs, and that's going to be TK Marshall. It's more running back by committee. Now, when Kobe Johnson is healthy, he's one of the main anchors for this leading rushing offense in the Valley. Entered today averaging nearly 260 yards rushing as a unit. They now have 160 today.
Coach Ince talked about all the different personnel groups, lots of substitutions between every play here. They're putting a lot of pressure on the Sycamore defense to figure out who goes next.
A short gain for NDSU. And you can see them. They're going to use multiple fullbacks, multiple tight ends. As Hunter Lipke a little slow getting off. Well, he'll head to the far sideline.
Yeah, but the last 3 plays, though, it's been 3 on, 3 off, 4 on, 4 off, which, again, that forces Indiana State then to make personnel changes as well. Lots and lots of communication going on both sides of the football down there. You got to act quick.
Opening drive of the second half. North Dakota State trailed the whole first half. Play action for Miller. Has all day to throw. Finds his man. In stride is Henderson. And Henderson sets up NDSU at the Indiana State 31.
Yeah, all day to throw is right. If you're part of the defensive line for Indiana State, you've got to do something. You got to have 2 moves before the ball snap. I'm going to bull rush and then I'm going to rip. Have a plan and execute your plan. But really, absolutely no pressure there. And Miller just had all day to throw.
Down for North Dakota State.
Indiana State trying to get a defensive stop here, but NDSU had a touchdown drive right before half. Now trying to add one to start here in the second half. That was Marshall again banging his way forward for NDSU.
Marshall, the ball carrier.
Nice.
Brought down by number 2.
First down gain there, just a little power play. Looked like there might have been a little bit of a hold there right at the point of attack. Looked like one of the offensive linemen for Indy State had his hand on the back of Belazar, but no call. And it was right at the point of attack, and that's normally where they're going to throw it. Some of that stuff you can let go, but not when it's at the point of attack.
Williams, the tailback, in motion. First down and more for NDSU. That pass hauled in on the far sideline. That's Zach Mathis. Again, only had 8 receptions all of last year. Had 6 receptions entering today. That's his first reception hauled in.
Good football play, though. Again, you send motion to the left, and you kind of look left initially. You come back right quickly. Kone was not able to make the play, and Cole had to come over and clean it up.
Nelson and Lippy, 2 receivers on the near side. Williams, big hole, looking end zone, Painted, and NDSU ahead for the first time today.
Just a different version of the power play there. Instead of pulling the guards, they pull the H-back. But that's, again, that's a good offensive system that you can attack the same spot multiple different ways. Give those defensive players a different look. It's the same play, all right, but we're going to do it with different people. And you see the H-back coming around with the big block there. Williams with a huge hole.
Williams with the touchdown. It's his 15th touchdown in his career rushing, as the PAT is up and through by Crosa. And NDSU has taken its first lead of the day. The number 1 Bison have punched back. Does Indiana State have a punch?
Your money, you need convenience,
we'll be back.
Flexibility, and sometimes some good advice.
North Dakota State with a touchdown drive to start the second half on the opening possession after trailing 13-10 at halftime. It is 17-13. Number 1, North Dakota State over Indiana State. So now Indiana State offensively without Gavin Screws, their starting quarterback today. Cade Chambers in his first ever career start will get their first opportunity here in the second half after a low line drive kick. Dakota Caton will let it roll softly right to him. And Caton met inside their own 20-yard line, so NDSU will push Indiana State back, but feels like now at the momentum, again, this is not unfamiliar territory for North Dakota State, as we mentioned. They were trailing 17-10 in Vermillion, South Dakota, in the Dakota Dome. They outscored the Coyotes 24-0 in the second half.
Well, they did exactly what you want to do as an offensive football team. Go on a nice, whatever it was, 7-8 play drive and use about 5 minutes of the clock and score. And then you kick off and you hold them inside the 20. Logan Kopp with the big hit there.
Kopp, promising linebacker for NDSU, but Dinka, we mentioned that Indiana State have a punch. Here's the counter punch, and its name is Justin Dinka. Pay dirt for the second time this season, and Indiana State back up ahead of number 1.
Well, you always, again, you want to answer. Well, that's a heck of an answer right there. They run a little counter, bring the right guard, right tackle. I believe they brought 2. Kick out, turn up, follow the big fellas, and then just wait till you can explode. So it was a guard and an H. Nice block by Farrell. Kick out, and now it's over. It's just over. Nobody's going to catch it.
Justin Dinka waving goodbye. And Indiana State, you can sense the momentum building here at Memorial Stadium as Ryan O'Grady trying to knock through his second PAT of the afternoon. All of the process was clean, and Indiana State answers back, and it's a 3-point lead for Indiana State. What a response. Justin Dinka takes it to the house, and we'll take a break. We got a good one here on the Valley on ESPN. Indiana State with an 83-yard touchdown run by Justin Dinka retake the lead over number 1 North Dakota State. The energy, you can feel it on the sideline, and down on the sideline is the third member of our broadcast crew, Kelsey Casper.
Well, ISU quickly reclaiming that lead thanks to a monstrous run from Justin Dinka, and the ISU fan section on their feet yet again. Coach Kurt Mallory with the fist bumps as he was met with hugs in the end zone from his offensive line. But North Dakota State, you could see the clear frustration from their defense. Players yelling at each other, trying to get their heads in the game. As head coach Matt Entz just told me at halftime, they need to keep the heat on Indiana State on defense as ISU takes the lead right back in the third quarter, guys.
Thanks, Kelsey. And the piggyback off of that, of what Kelsey just said, Coach Entz mentioned, got to keep applying that pressure. Well, for Indiana State, you go back to the first half, back-to-back scoring drives for NDSU, basically. They get the one at the end of the half. They get the one to start the second half. You didn't necessarily have to do it all in one play, but a response was needed, and that's what Indiana State got.
Well, again, hats off to Nash Jensen, the left guard, and Farrell, who came around and had 2 great blocks. I mean, and the North Dakota defense, they can yell at each other all they want, but those were good blocks. Sometimes people make football plays.
On play action to start. Just snuck it over Maddox Blackwell, who was back defending. Hauling that one in was Raja Nelson.
Miller's pass is complete to number 0, Mathis.
It's a first down, North Dakota State. The one that eventually hauled that in there on the far sideline.
Just rolling him out there. Yeah, give him a dual option there. He can run or pass, and he decided to deliver the ball. Nice ball.
Going back to that Montana game earlier this year, it was a competitive first half, 21-7, but Montana scored on the first 2 drives to start the second half and eventually pushed that game out. Indiana State didn't lay down that day. They still played, but not to the level of effort that Coach Mallory wanted. Well, that's what you see here in the second half. That energy and that enthusiasm still there. But the bigger point, can the defense now make a play after the offense picked them up?
Effort is so important, Luke. For years, every year we would pick a mantra like most teams do. And one year for us, it was the secret is effort, and that's not, effort everywhere.
Miller, quick pass far sideline. That's DJ Hart. Corralled it quickly, started moving. And DJ Hart will make it third down here for NDSU. Virtually just a short gain there. It's third down and short. North Dakota State 3 for 9 on third downs today. Now the Forest will start the roar here below us.
Which is somewhat uncharacteristic for this Bison squad to be 33% on third down conversions.
Miller keeps it himself. Chris Reed Jr. pressuring him, but he got enough for the first down. Chris Reed Jr. here on the far sideline. He had to miss the first half because of a targeting penalty against Northern Iowa in the second half a week ago. So Indiana State will get one of their best pass rushers and a captain back.
Well, just a really well-designed play there, a little kind of a zone read there, where you put Reed in a little bit of a compromising position. It's cat and mouse. Who are you going to take? Who are you going to cover? And Miller does a nice job of getting just enough.
We thought Hunter Lipke on one of the drives earlier kind of came off the field awkwardly. I don't think we've seen him out there since. It's play action. Looking down the field is Miller. Look at that hole. He's got plenty of time. And Miller will run by himself. Gets near the first down sticks. He near the 40-yard line. He gets to Indiana State 43.
Well, again, quarterbacks are taught, you're looking and defensive players have, pass rush zones, and if they get out of their zones, take off.
Hunter Lipke looked like he just checked back in, so good to see him. Thankfully, nothing, at least at this moment. I believe that may have been Brosio, actually, who subbed in there. They all look so much alike down there on the field. Lipke is in it there in the backfield. Quick pass near side. It's caught. Plenty of full head of steam as Braylon Henderson. Henderson gets the first down and more. NDSU's offense, it took them a while to get in gear, but now it's Indiana State having a tough time trying to come up with stops.
Henderson's another young man who was not listed necessarily as a starter or a backup, but has had a decent game.
Now Indiana State's going to burn one of their timeouts. It'll be their first timeout here in the second half. And that will bring
their first timeout of the second half. This will be extended to a full media timeout.
Thank you, Jason Perkins. As I was just about to mention, it's going to a media timeout. 20-17, Indiana State with the lead. Do you sound the upset alert button? Maybe not quite yet, but it's getting close. 6:56 to go, third quarter. The Valley on ESPN. Indiana State leads the #1 team in the country. Williams right now for NDSU, nearing the 100-yard mark. He's had a phenomenal game. Now he's trying to spearhead this NDSU offensive attack. He'll carry it this time, just bouncing off Sycamores. Now it's going to be second down. It's an Indiana State defense that seems like it's starting to get maybe a little tired in the second half, Coach Leisure. That's why I felt like that timeout came at a good time, because after NDSU's opening drive to start the second half, Indiana State scored on the first play, 82 yards. Thunder there. He's liking what he's seeing right now from this NDSU offense. But it's a Indiana State defense that really needed just a little bit of a breather.
Without question. Again, it does. I mean, it's great that you scored in one play, but it does put a little pressure on your defense.
Williams keeps it again. Big hole. Khalil Davis trying to chase. He won't get there. Williams pushed into the end zone for a touchdown. And North Dakota State back on top. He goes over 100 yards rushing. He's now averaging nearly 10 yards per carry today. And it's 23-20 NDSU pinning the PAT.
Now here's a young man that came into the ballgame with just 118 yards. Very patient, just really a stretch play. You're going to try to get the defense stretched out, try to find a hole, and then he just finishes.
John Sherman protecting that end zone there. Looking on. It's North Dakota State now with Crosa's PAT. Splits the post, and North Dakota State back up by 4, 24-20. We got a good game here. Now North Dakota State, it took them a while to get that offense going, but man, the Bison have simply just gotten back to what you said was a key point, running the ball. They've had success today running that football.
Yeah, they have, and again, sometimes coaches, and I was guilty of it too at times, you just almost outcoach yourself. You figure, hey, listen, they're going to have to adjust, right? They're going to stop this eventually. Let's go somewhere else. Well, no, why don't you just stay there until they do stop it? And, again, I'm sure Coach Mallory told his team, hey, guys, go out there, and if you can return this kickoff 95 yards for a touchdown, I'll take it. But offense, if you want to go 4 or 5 plays and let our defense rest a minute, I won't be angry.
So North Dakota State, able to go 8 plays, 75 yards to retake the lead here in Terre Haute. Always a good contingent of Bison faithful making the trek down from Fargo. Plenty of yellow and green in the stands. There's Will Cardinal. We'll boot this one deep. And we'll go into the end zone for a touchback. So Indiana State will have it at their own 25-yard line. Look, it takes more than just one guy, but Cade Chambers has had the majority of the snaps today. We only saw Michael Hoppert for one. It was nearly a fumble for Indiana State and lost possession. Evan Elias, I think, came in for 1 or 2 snaps, but why have you thought of Cade Chambers today with the help of Justin Dinka, who got that 82-yard touchdown run on his last drive?
I think Chambers has been fantastic. Earlier in the season, Coach Mallory told us, hey, look, we have 3 quarterbacks. Screws is our starter, but we got 3 guys, and once again, Indiana State's able to get the defensive line for Dakota State to jump off sides. Again, we talked about it. As you watch film and you tell your kids, hey, we can get 15 yards, as the officials, I guess, are going to talk about it, make sure that maybe the left guard did not flinch. It looked to me like everybody stayed still.
Offside. Defense, number 91. Into the neutral zone. Contact with the lineman. First down.
One of the areas for North Dakota State that has been so good over the years is not only that they don't turn the ball over, they have very few penalties. Last week, and this at times this year, penalties have been an issue for North Dakota State, averaging right now 30 penalties on the season for NDSU. That's 8th most in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. There's Cade Chambers in the gun on 1st and 5. Dinka, we just broke one for 82 yards. He's not breaking that one. Immediately swallowed by that NDSU front.
Yeah, just again, he tried to be patient there. There was not a lot of movement there. You got to see him kind of hide behind the offensive line a little bit and try to get through there, but not enough there.
Luke Wirtz in on that tackle to at least get the help to start it off. So now it's 2nd down and 5. NDSU with the 2nd lead of the day for the Bison. All have come here in the second half. Chambers looking for Van Dyne. That's who he throws it to. He just had an opening. Just overthrew the Minnesota transfer in his 2nd season here at Indiana State. We'll bring up 3rd down and 5.
And just to follow up too about what Coach said about the quarterbacks, he said, we got 3 quarterbacks, but Screws is our starter. Obviously now because of the injury, he can't be. But man, what again, we talked about all the weapons that Coach Entz has at his disposal. How about Coach Mallory now really with 3 guys when Screws comes back, hopefully maybe next week or the week after, that can play.
Indiana State today has converted on 3 of their 7 third down conversions. This is 3rd down and manageable. All 3 receivers near side. Caton hits it, got the first down. He needed the 35. And they're going to spot him right at the 35 where he went out of bounds. They will move the sticks. It's a gain of 5. Dakota Caton, he was out. It was 1,013 days in between games for Indiana State here at Memorial Stadium. When you think it back to 2019 to the start, 1,013 days between games for Caton. He's starting to get confidence back after 6 receptions last week. That one there going to be his 2nd of the game. Chambers looking for his number 1 target. Hendricks got it into his chest, but they're saying he didn't get a foot down. Hendricks almost made another remarkable grab on the near sideline. We'll take another look at, see if there's anything to potentially review.
Well, judging from his reaction, again, remember his reaction on the first one. He got up emphatically.
Pass is incomplete, intended for number
He's
8.
definitely out. Yeah, I think he knew it too, because he kind of, you know, not near the passion of that one there that he did on the first one.
Gained the 4th Indiana State receiver all time with 2,000 career receiving yards earlier today. His very first catch. 4:42 to go. Dinka trying to find any sort of room. Gets 2 yards and a little bit more maybe at the end with the push. Gain of 3, it's going to bring up 3rd down and 7. This is an Indiana State offensive line that was highly questioned heading into the game. T. Hodge, excuse me, on that carry for Indiana State.
Number 4, Hodge on the carry for the Sycamore.
You know, one of the things Coach Ince said, though, that he thought that they were better offensively at the line position. You know, he said that, you know, he made a lot of comments, nice comments, but he thought they were better on the offensive line. They used different quarterbacks against Northern Iowa. He felt that gave the Sycamore offense a spark. So, they're getting better at that position.
It's 3rd down. It says 2nd down on our scoreboard, which is why you see 2nd down there on the screen. But that's going to be a sack as North Dakota State comes in, brings pressure, and Cade Chambers had minimal time to get that ball off.
Chambers is sacked by number 26,
give credit
Kaiser.
To Kaiser, who's starting to look like that All-American form that he had.
Yeah, really just outnumbered. They brought more than they could block, and Kaiser was the one who ended up squirting free. It would have been, you got to block somebody. And they're rushing more than we're keeping into blocks, so just a matter of one of them getting there. That's why you got to have hot routes. You got to get rid of the football quickly. Receivers have to see that when that linebacker vacates, perhaps I replace him. It's the only thing you can do in those situations.
First punt in the second half. Harry Traum kept it for a little bit and then finally delivers the boot. Henderson, I think it touched him. The ball is loose, and they will rule Indiana State football.
Well, just a huge mistake on the return man there. I mean, that ball was punted well and difficult to catch. You're backing up. You're kind of losing your balance, and you try to fair catch this thing. Just forget it. Let it go. Look at it. That's just awful. I mean, you can't make that catch. Just let that thing go. Get out of the way. You're losing your balance. Don't even try to catch it.
Maddox Blackwell recovers. Another mistake that keeps the underdog in it. North Dakota State, the heavy favorite. They've never lost at Memorial Stadium. And right now, Indiana State it looks like this is going to be reviewed, I believe.
The ruling that the receiver bumped the punt and it was recovered by the kicking team is under further review.
And they are going to review it.
Yeah, and again, the only thing really to review is whether or not he touched it.
Yes, that is exactly what they're going to look at, is seeing if for sure it did not sneak by. And that, man, you talk about pure luck if somehow that ball did not touch the hands of Braylon Henderson. Let's see if we have any look, or at least a great look at this. Good job by our crew slowing it down. Ooh. I think that's too close to say it didn't hit his hand.
I think right there there may be some contact with the football.
But it's close.
I would agree. I don't know that there's irrefutable proof, which is the term everyone always uses.
Now keep in mind, and we hate to keep harping on this, there's another television production crew here on site. They have more cameras than we do. So there's 12 different camera angles that our replay official will have today in Darwin Schaefer. So from our camera angles, it looks like there isn't a conclusive view that says it did not hit the hands of Braylon Henderson. We'll get another look at it here. This is from the back view. Now that, again, you can't really see the front. That does look like there may be a little bit more space, but here's Jason Perkins.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Indiana State's ball, 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line.
Just not enough there, Coach Leisure.
I'd agree. I mean, and Gorza doesn't have to touch him in the air. He can touch him after it hit the ground. That ball hits the ground and comes back up, and he tries to squeeze it. And again, they're going to say, listen, it looked to me like he got it. And there certainly was not irrefutable proof to say that he didn't touch it. 1st
down and 10 at the 12. Indiana State can get a fresh set of downs at the 2 if they need to. Chambers kept it himself on the read option. Got maybe a yard.
Yeah, again, just try to get those defensive ends in conflict, give them different looks. You know, whether you're pulling guards, pulling H-backs, doing whatever. But you just got to give them a different look and then try to run a play that's similar to your offense. So you don't have to learn a new play, really. You just got to learn a different way to block it.
2nd down and 9. Indiana State trying to capitalize. They did earlier. They got their first touchdown after a North Dakota State fumble in the 1st half. And right now, Coach Mallory blitzing down the sideline. You see him at the bottom of the screen, but now he will not call a timeout. Chambers keeps it himself, and they made that pay. Spencer Wagee in there to knock Chambers down.
You know, Wagee's a young man, just a heck of a football player.
The tackle for the Bison.
Come down the line of scrimmage on the down block there. Seemed to be a little bit of confusion, though, on Chambers' part, the quarterback position. When he got the ball, he didn't really act. He didn't move immediately.
It's 3rd and 12. Caton, Hendricks, and Barnett, the 3 receivers, and the lone receivers at the bottom of your screen. Chambers has time, looking for number 8. It's deflected and incomplete. Good coverage on the back end by NDSU. It's Marquise Siegel who's the one there. And now Indiana State will attempt a field goal try. Earlier in the game, when Indiana State scored its first touchdown, they decided to go for 2 instead of kicking the PAT. So this will be to try to bring Indiana State back within 1. That 2-point conversion obviously failed. With 1:31 left in the 3rd quarter. Ryan O'Grady, he missed a 30-yarder last week at UNI. A little bit of a high snap, and it's blocked.
It's a live ball. That's a live ball. Someone can run over and pick it up. Now you go down it. There you go.
And they will down it at the 5. So Ryan O'Grady kicked that one low, but the snap was a little high and not clean by Jaden Perry. So Indiana State comes up empty on the muff punt.
You know, Coach Mallory talked about that when we talked to him on our Zoom call. And let's see.
Yep, just got it. Looked like the shoulder.
Yeah. Ball looked like it might have been kicked a little low, but he talked about how against Northern Iowa, they onside kicked, they got it. They got nothing. They had a big interception by Ryland Cole, put them in scoring position. They got nothing. All right, so you get the muff punt here, and you end up with nothing. So that's clearly something that Indiana State needs to fix.
So NDSU doesn't get any damage on that muff punt. Now Williams nearly stayed on his feet. He could have taken that one to the house if he did. Indiana State having all sorts of issues trying to stop Tamarick Williams, the senior from Angleton, Texas.
Yeah, again, I talked about earlier, he came into the ballgame with 116 yards rushing on the season. He's clearly got more than that today.
Why not keep feeding him? A short gain there of 2. Going to make it 2nd down and 8. So North Dakota State, field goal mistake.
Number 22, Williams, the ball carrier.
Muff punt.
Tackled by number 93, Hunter.
And now Indiana State, after a blocked field goal, a chance to try to get back within 1. It's North Dakota State trying the march here. Quick throw, that is Lipke. Catches it on the screen. Only a gain of 1.
Miller's pass is complete to number 44.
Nice job out there by 98, Casey Miller, the big fella getting out there, hustling.
Looks like that's going to be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Bison holding up 4 fingers. Indiana State doing the same. 15 minutes left in this one. Indiana State has been hanging around. They've thrown some counter punches today. There is pressure on the Bison. It'll be 3rd down and 7. We come back here on the Valley on ESPN. The Toyota RAV4 4th quarter, Deere style, efficiency, and performance. Glad we're on the same team this season and every season. Let's keep huddling up and going for it. Toyota, let's go places. Cam Miller and North Dakota State in a fight today with Indiana State, leading by 4. It's its largest lead of the day. Mathis caught it, kept on his feet, still going into Indiana State territory. And gets down to the Indiana State 35-yard line. There's a nice grab by Mathis. That will be Mathis's 5th, or his 5th target of the day, his 4th reception.
What you're going to see here, Luke, is Bilal Kone just basically takes a shot. He tries to make a play and just dives for it and is unable to get it. And unfortunately, that leads to an even bigger gain. Good hustle by Ryland Cole over there to make the play and clean it up.
NDSU hasn't led by more than 4 today. They led 17-13 in the early stages of the second half, and now by 4 here. Here's the man of the day right now for the Bison. The ball is loose, or appeared to come loose. Indiana State feels that they jumped on it.
Yeah, I think it was Eric Reed Jr., number 6, who comes in late with that kind of fist, from behind.
Indiana State jumping up and down. No official ruling yet. It is Indiana State football. Another costly mistake by the Bison keeps that upset door open.
Well, the officials are going to talk about it here, and they may review it too. But again, watch Eric Reed Jr. come in late, and he just kind of takes his fist from behind. Or Chris Reed, I'm sorry, Chris Reed. I used to coach a kid named Eric Reed. I apologize. Watch him, boom, right there. And that's when the ball, I think, comes out.
Yeah, you could see it stuck right in between his legs. Now the only question is, did that ball come out before his knee hit? And they're going to take another review of it. All the reviews today haven't been conclusive.
The ruling on the field of the fumble recovered by the defense is under further review.
Yeah, I'm going to say that it looked to me like the ball was loose long before his knees hit. Now the question is, did he have it there, like you said, between his legs, and then therefore at what point is he down? And so I think the ball's definitely loose. And again, if I apologize, Eric Reed, the old kid I used to coach years ago, if you're listening, what's up, Eric? Young man named Chris Reed's playing really well, though.
Chris Reed. There's Chris Reed coming in, and you see the ball. It's right there. Jeffrey Brown. It's just the question is, when exactly did that ball come out? And give a heads up. Jeffrey Brown got to get in that dog pile and wrestle it away.
Which, there is a lot of stuff going on down there, in those piles. Jeffrey Brown was there. I think it looked like number 14, Khalil Davis, was also there. It's hard to see for sure. Maybe it was a 24 instead of a 14.
That would be the 3rd turnover of the game for North Dakota State. They had the fumble in the first half, the muff punt as well. This would be the 3rd turnover, which would match a season high. They had 3 in the Dakota Dome. Now, sometimes these replay angles take a little bit longer today due to the other TV production company that is here running these angles. And here's Jason Perkins. Let's see if there's enough to overturn.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. 1st and 10, Indiana State.
So Indiana State gets another break. That time, though, more of a break earned, knocking the ball loose from Chris Reed Jr. You talk about the heads that would turn if this stat stays the way it is. Indiana State has never lost a game under head coach Kurt Mallory when they've led at halftime. This is the most points scored as well that Indiana State has ever scored against North Dakota State, even going back to that 2012 win. Caton was the man in motion. Read option pass, and a great job defensively by NDSU, jumping out in front of that one, in front of Harry Van Dyne. That was Courtney Eubanks.
I'll tell you what, if you come back to that, maybe not right here, but run a hitch and go, because both of those defenders came hard on the throw. Run the hitch and go. Have him come down there, turn around, same way, hands up, pump fake, roll him, and he'll run all the way to the river.
4 receivers set here for Indiana State. Dante Hendricks, the leading receiver today. He's got 5 receptions. He's down at the bottom of your screen, right below the 30. It's 2nd down and 10. Cade, wide throw, again looking for Harry Van Dyne. Will go incomplete. Chambers has completed 8 passes today for 114 yards. Had a passing touchdown to Dante Hendricks, and then his first career rushing touchdown back in the first half.
The Chambers may be trying to do a little too much there. He's doing a great job with his eyes, trying to look off the receiver and then come back to him. And I think maybe he just kind of threw that a little bit blindly, and that's why it was so off target.
3rd down and long. Sycamores have only converted on 1 3rd down here in the second half. Again, can they produce after a North Dakota State mistake? Chambers, pocket collapsing, trying to find any time. No one open downfield. Last minute throw over the head of Caton. It was well covered by that NDSU defense on the back end. And Indiana State will now have to punt.
Well, again, you hate to sound like a broken record, but you get an opportunity and you don't capitalize on it. Coach Brownlee talked about it earlier in the week. Hats off to the Bison defense, though. Huge stop on the sudden change. And Chambers did all he could on that play, kept it alive. They ran the scramble drill with Caton, and it just wasn't there.
4th down and 10. And Harry Traum to punt. Last punt was muffed. Henderson nowhere near this one. Bilal Kone catches it there on the sideline and will bring us to a media timeout. 13:51 to go. North Dakota State, they've dodged 2 big bullets. 2 turnovers have not turned into Indiana State points. And it's a 4-point lead for the #1 team in the country with 13:51 left. (24-20) NDSU, the #1 team in the country, getting all they can handle for that Dakota marker game next week against the not well-liked Jackrabbits in Fargo, North Dakota. Here it's been a heck of a show as Hunter Lipke gets the carry there. Hunter Lipke has had a touchdown in 8 consecutive games. He does not have a touchdown today, but for more on Hunter Lipke and the impact he's had for the Bison, here's the 3rd member of our team, Kelsey Casper.
Well, it's no question one of the best players on this Bison lineup is Hunter Lipke, as the numbers speak for themselves for the senior All-American fullback. I asked Coach Entz earlier this week about his character, and he brought up his recruiting story visiting his small town of Spencer, Wisconsin, a school kindergarten through high school. He said all the kids there knew who Hunter was, giving him high fives. He says if he wasn't playing football at North Dakota State, he'd probably be voted mayor of the town by now. He said it spoke volumes of his character. That's why he wanted him and has led to his success at North Dakota State. Guys.
Hunter Lipke, if held out of the end zone, the last time he did not score a touchdown was in the playoff game against Southern Illinois in the Fargo Dome. And he's had 18 touchdowns the last 12 games. The most amazing stat is heading into this game this year, 10 touchdowns on the year. If he had one more, that would be as many touchdowns offensively as 4 teams do in the Valley alone. Key 3rd down and short here. And it's Lipke right there. You see him, the big green 44. But they're going to elect to throw. And Lipke move the sticks. North Dakota State has answered every counterpunch so far from Indiana State here in the second half. That door has been open. But Indiana State so far 0 for 2 in the second half in terms of capitalizing off of NDSU mistakes.
He's tackled by number
The play
24,
before got the big gain there that led to that 3rd and short. Indiana State really brought the pressure, Luke, and they just about got to Miller. So let's see if that's going to be something that they're going to continue to do here.
Lipke in the backfield with Miller. Will now reverse and come to the near side. Lipke with the carry, stays on his feet. He's a dangerous man with the football, and did the ball come out there at the end? Looked like there were more Bison coming in to help, at least to protect Hunter Lipke. But it stays Bison football, and now North Dakota State, with the clock starting to trickle on down. Indiana State does have an 82-yard touchdown run today. Yeah, momentarily that ball almost came loose. But Indiana State not typically quick striking, so if North Dakota State could definitely get a touchdown here, it would put Indiana State in a hole late. Largest lead today has been 4. Wrapped up in the backfield, nowhere to go for TK Marshall. Lucas Hunter having one of his better games in an Indiana State career.
Number 28, Marshall,
and now there's whistles.
He's met in the backfield by number
and there's confusion on the NDSU
Hunter.
sideline right now. Matt Ince is not happy. I don't see a penalty flag down anywhere.
I don't know what he could, I mean, unless he felt like Indiana State maybe had too many men on the field and they missed it. You know, he's got coaches up in the booth too who can count. And I don't know what else it would be. It was just a regular football play and nice play by defensive lineman.
Here's Jason Perkins, who will clarify.
Personal foul. Offense, number 70. 15 yards from the previous spot. Remains second down.
Wow, Cody Mauk is the one whistled for the personal foul. Mauk, who was on the roster in 2017, the last time NDSU came to Terre Haute, did not make that trip. Let's see if we can get any sort of, he just kept blocking a Sycamore into the sideline.
I tell you, I don't know. I mean, I coached offensive line for years. You want that kind of effort from those kids. Play to the whistle. I don't know where the whistle was there. I didn't see anything dirty. I didn't see, you know, that he kicked him or stepped on him or anything. That just looked like tremendous effort. I think that's why Coach Hentz is so upset. He's like, look, I've been trying.
He's still upset.
Yeah, I've been trying to get that kid to play like that for 5 years, right? And he finally does it. And then you guys, you know, throw that on him. So
First down.
So it was after the play. It was a first down, but they're going to move it back 15 yards. So it's going to be first down and 25.
I mean, that's what they're saying, is that it was after the play and he should have stopped maybe a step or two early, but it didn't look like the play was over by that much. I just call that great effort. I would grade that a great effort play if I was grading him.
Marshall, the man in motion, quick throw far side. Indiana State ball came out at the end, but they're going to rule him down. Man, that ball, for some reason today, for DJ Hart in North Dakota State, just keeps finding it on the turf.
Miller's pass was
Almost
complete
a big
to number
play here.
9, Hart.
Let's see if it's clearly,
He's caught from
if he
behind
was
by
clearly
number
down.
98, Miller.
Yeah, the ball in the ground, clearly.
Short gain of 2. It's second down and 23.
Maddox Blackwell almost blew that up for a
Second
TFL.
down.
Lipke trying to run over Sycamores, but pursuit met right at the midfield stripe. NDSU has to get all the way to the Indiana State 31-yard line. It's going to be third down and 19.
And Johnny May there met Lipke right in the hole and kind of wrapped him up and just held on for dear life. And basically, I think Lipke just ultimately tripped over his body, but it works, right? It counts.
Third down and 19. Number 1, North Dakota State, trying to fight off this upset bid from Indiana State. Bison have converted on 4 of their 10 third down conversions. What a catch made, and move the sticks as well. Wow. How about Zach Mathis? Nearly was tugged and possibly could have been a defensive pass interference, but he pushes through contact and makes the catch. Now both officials' hats also were thrown off.
Pass was complete to number 0, Mathis.
Which normally means a player has stepped out of bounds.
First down.
So 24-20. NDSU keeps the chains moving on important third down. And now a gain of 8.
Now, of course, you talked about the clock, just under 9 minutes and rolling here, but believe me, Coach Ince ain't worried about the clock right now. He's like, we're going to go score.
Here's another look at it, Coach. I don't know if we're going to see it here much. Is he out?
I didn't see him step out, and it looks to me like he caught the football and got a foot down. So
great grab by Mathis. Marshall around the outside, runs into his own man before Khalil Davis, a plethora of other blue jerseys come in. It's going to bring up third down and short.
Number 28, Marshall on the
8:20 to go.
Tackled by number 14, Davis.
Clock winding down. NDSU hasn't led by more than 4 today. This has been a 4-quarter battle.
Yeah, Coach Ince is saying, you know what, we'll milk the clock next possession. Right now, let's just go score.
Third and short. See Lipke and the tight end, Stuffle, motion to the near right. It's a give to Marshall, and he may be a little short. To us, it looks like he's a little short. It's 4th and inches.
Number 28.
Now what do you do if you're NDSU?
I go for it. I tell my kids, listen, we didn't fly all the way over here. If we can't get 4 inches, fellas, we might as well just go get in a bus. That's what I do.
Well, and their defense has been outstanding in the second half as well. Even if Indiana State gets a stop, Indiana State would have to march a long ways down.
If I'm Coach Ince, I'm already in a bad mood. I'm already not happy, so we're going for it.
It was initially the Delta formation. 2 fullbacks motion to the far side. It's a pitch to Lipke. Lipke met, but he just needed an inch. And he got more than an inch down near the 10-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 for NDSU at the Indiana State 11.
Number 44, Lipke on
now
the carry.
3 for 3 on 4th downs today for North Dakota State.
First down for North Dakota State.
Well, for Indiana State, now especially where that clock is at, you need to hold North Dakota State to a field goal attempt to give yourself a chance.
Indiana State's defense has not played poorly today, only giving up 24 points to the #1 team in the nation. That's not bad.
Hunter Lipke pushed back. Indiana State trying to strip that ball. Of course, North Dakota State, they want a personal foul penalty. That's what their coaches are arguing on the far sideline, saying what's so different from that than earlier on this drive for Mauk.
I would agree. Frankly, I mean, that didn't look like much different. If anything, it did look maybe even slightly more egregious than what Mauk did. Mauk was hustling, man. I mean, how do you, I don't know, how you flag a guy for hustling?
Lipke will line up at receiver on the near side. North Dakota State pumping is Miller, looking in zone. Raja Nelson dropped it, incomplete. Right at the end, Nelson was looking for his first touchdown of the season. It just went through his hands. It's now 3rd down and 9. And you feel like for Indiana State, even though a first down could be picked up here and you can get a goal line stop, you feel like if you're going to have a chance to win this thing, you need to stop here on 3rd and 1.
I would agree with that. A great effort here by Nelson. I really thought he had it, and he just couldn't quite come up with it, and at the same time keep those feet in.
North Dakota State had 3rd and 19 on this drive. They converted it to keep it going. #1 team in the country tested. Can they pass it again here? It's Mathis, and Mathis walks into the end zone, and the Bison extend their lead to its largest of the day.
And once again, Bill Alcone just tries to make a play. I ain't mad at the kid at all. He went up there and tried to make a big play, just missed. And then Mathis, of course, makes a nice play and kind of takes his sweet time getting into the end zone, but watch Kone come up here and just try to blow it up there, and he couldn't get there.
Mathis with his first touchdown since the first 2 games of the season. kind of dipped off a little bit in terms of production, but he's not dipped off the day. He's the leading receiver now. That was his 6th reception, and it puts North Dakota State up 11 with 5:49 to go. NDSU in front. Will Indiana State have a quick answer to try to stay in it late? It's the Valley on ESPN. North Dakota State flexing those FCS championship muscle here late. Scoring drive to increase the Bison lead to 11. They trailed at halftime. They're trying to be the first team to beat Indiana State under head coach Kurt Mallory. And Indiana State's had a halftime lead. As Will Cardinal delivers this boot. Dakota Caton will call for a fair catch and bring it out to the 25-yard line. We will have yet another media timeout. When we come back, it's a special day for a Bison on the defense because he finally gets to play close to home. It's Michael Tutsi. We'll have that story from Kelsey Casper when we return.
National Bank is proud to support Sycamore.
Welcome back into the Valley on ESPN. North Dakota State up 31-20 on Indiana State. And I want to talk about a player on this Bison defense. Warren Central grad Michael Tutsi is making his return to his home state today. Actually, a lot of those Bison fans in the stands are friends and family of Michael, as the captain is a big part of this defense. I spoke with Coach Entz earlier this week about him, and he said, like most freshmen, he was a little bit of a knucklehead when he came to North Dakota State, but since then has transformed into a talented and intelligent player. So much so, Coach Entz hopes that Michael will return as a grad assistant next season. Ultimate compliment from a coach like Entz, guys.
Well, Dante Hendricks just made another highlight reel catch, and he's down on the far sideline. Honestly, as Kelsey was giving us that update on Michael Tutsi, hopefully Dante Hendricks is okay. That's Kellen Norris coming in. Kate Chambers trying to give number 8 a chance. And did he have complete possession of that ball prior to going down on the sideline? You can clearly see Jaden Price disagrees. As Coach Mallory, you see Dante come off. And getting an update from Kellen. Came over after his days with the Indianapolis Colts as one of their head trainers. And right now it's going to stand. No call down to review it, so it's going to stay a catch for Dante Hendricks. And Indiana State moving quickly here now. Sycamore still have 2 timeouts, but they need a quick score. Blocked field goal earlier in this half looming large right now. Chambers' high school teammate T. Hodge just got a yard to the 40. 5:15 and rolling. And after you had that field goal block, you would say if you maybe got in field goal range here, you kick it and then get a defensive stop. But really, if you're Indiana State, you want to get that touchdown first.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, you want to get the big one first and then play from there. Just a couple things Coach Entz said about Dante. He wins all 50-50 balls, and that's exactly what that last one was. He also said he's a good kid, with great hands, and can make people miss. He's spot on.
He's got more girth to him than people may give him credit. As Dakota Caton got a hold on to that ball. He does. Gets to the 34-yard line. Indiana State needs the 31, so it's going to be 3rd down and 3 here for Indiana State. You're in 4-down territory here anyway, so you got 2 plays to try to pick up these 3 yards.
Yeah, I got a nice 7-yard pickup here.
Caton starting to get more comfortable. And bottom line, this has been a brutal stretch for Indiana State of their schedule. Purdue from the Big Ten just beat an unbeaten Minnesota team last week. Number 2 Montana, and on the road at Northern Iowa, and today the number 1 team in the country. Should be a free play for Indiana State, and Caton did complete the catch, so they'll decline this penalty, assuming that is offsides on NDSU.
I think it was. I mean, obviously, if it had been a false start, they'd have blown it dead, so they let the play carry on. So.
Offside. Defense, number 99, in the neutral zone at the snap. That penalty is declined. Play results in the first down.
How about this stat today for Indiana State? Not just no turnovers, no penalties.
Yeah, I saw that at the first half, and I was trying to think of whether they had any in the second half. But yeah, I mean, that's how you win games. You don't make mistakes.
Indiana State trailed by 4, but a touchdown has increased NDSU's lead to 11. Chambers trying to answer back, looking for his number 1 target, deflected into the air by Courtney Eubanks. Wanted to come back, and he was almost playing receiver more than Dante Hendricks on that pass.
Yeah, obviously they decided to go with the fade, and that's what that was. That's one of those things where the quarterback just drops back 1, 2, 3, and you throw it to a spot. And again, you hope your kid wins the jump ball. But actually, if they had called a different route where he was breaking toward the post, he could have let him right into the end zone. There was no safety help over the top.
Caton and Hendricks, the lone receivers at the bottom of your screen. Caton's had a couple big receptions on this drive. Only 3 receivers have caught passes today. Hendricks and Caton have caught 10 of Chambers' 11 completions. There's Dinka, had an 82-yarder earlier, looking for number 2 today. Stumbles out near the 2-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal for Indiana State. They will mark him down at the 2.
Here comes the heavy set here. We're going to see the replay. Nice job just off tackle. Dinka's had a nice job. Just boom, hit that thing in a 45, breaks a tackle, tries to get into the house. Not quite. I believe it was the aforementioned Michael Tutsi that ran him out of bounds there on the 2-yard line, I believe.
Indiana State trying to strike back. Clock ticking down. Chambers, quarterback keeper, and they read that and they knew it was coming. Chambers will be marked for a loss of 2. And now Indiana State's offense will pick up the pace just a tad. Get the 3-minute mark. Sycamores have to score twice. Indiana State did recover a surprise onside kick against Northern Iowa last week. Now 2:50 left. Indiana State's got 2 timeouts. NDSU has all 3. Second and goal from the 4. Hendricks the man in motion. T. Hodge trying to find his first college touchdown. He gets to the 1, and it's 3rd and goal at the 1.
Again, you can't let too much time tick off the clock here. You got to get up here quickly.
The handoff goes to number 4, Hodge.
Kate Chambers trying to orchestrate it quickly here. NDSU's had so many goal line stops. They had one a week ago against Youngstown State. Will they get another here? Chambers looking for Hendricks, and it's a bad throw. It's incomplete, and now it's 4th and goal. Now, what do you do here? Do you kick the field goal to try to get within 8? Or do you say, you know what, we know we need 2 scores. We're going to try to get a touchdown here.
Well, I'm an old offensive line coach, and I said it earlier about Coach Ince. You got to tell yourself and your kids, guys, if we can't get a daggone yard, then you know, we're just kind of wasting our time anyway. I mean, yeah, you could do it. You either one's fine. But I just think from an attitude standpoint, you want to try to punch it in here.
And now Coach Mal will have to burn one of those 2 timeouts as well. Even though the clock was continuing to melt down, we will have a media timeout.
This will be extended to a full media timeout,
which will be our final media timeout of the game. North Dakota State 10-1 against the Sycamores all time, trying to avoid being 10-2. They're on their way. The Sycamores with an important 4th and goal when we come back. Fourth and goal at the 1. Indiana State trying to keep the pressure applied. And now NDSU will call a timeout. And Matt Ince.
Timeout of the second half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
He's got 3 of them. Might as well use them. And you were just talking about it there in break, Coach Leisure. Really, right now for Indiana State, barring a penalty, you can't get another first down here. And if you do score, you're going to go for 2 to try to get within 3. So really, it's kind of back-to-back 2-point conversion tries here for Indiana State.
That's what it is to me, and I like the timeout by Coach Mallory there, just because this play is so huge, and you know you got to make sure all 11 players are on the same page. Now, little chess game here. Coach Ince sees that Indiana State comes out in an empty set, and he calls timeouts. He's like, okay, if they're going to line up like that, then we're going to line up like it. Well, Coach Mallory's probably going, okay, well, now we're going to line up like that. You know, I mean, just having some fun with it.
Indiana State. This is by far the most competitive game with North Dakota State since they knocked off the Bison in 2012. That was with 2 pick sixes, no offensive touchdowns. Indiana State trying to find pay dirt for the 3rd time today. Chambers will air it out, looking for Hendricks, and he wins that 50-50 ball. And Indiana State not done yet.
Nice route, nice ball, good call by Coach Mallory. I love it. Again, now would you love to have that timeout? Sure you would. I'd like to weigh 180 pounds. I don't, right? You don't have it. So, but you got to get this touchdown, and they do.
Number 8, adding his name to the TD column for the 2nd time today. His first 2 touchdowns of the season. Indiana State entered today with 3 offensive touchdowns as a team. Only 4 touchdowns collectively today. Now they able to get one from Dinka, another from Chambers rushing, and then Dante Hendricks for 2. Here's a 2-point try, and it failed by Indiana State. That was T. Hodge. As Indiana State trying to get NDSU napping a little bit there, and they do not. So now Indiana State will not be within 3. They will have to attempt an onside kick, which again they did successfully last week, to try to hold on and keep North Dakota State panicking just a little bit here late.
And we talked, Luke, about how just you normally go into a ball game with about 4 different 2-point conversion plays. And that time ISU came out with Evan Elias as the quarterback, and then he walked up acting like he was going to talk to the lineman, and then they did the direct snap to Hodge. So that was one of them. Okay, now that's it. It's on film. Other teams will see it. So now you got to come up with another one.
Stephen Ruiz will do the onside kick for Indiana State. Jonathan Edwards, who's out today, missing for Indiana State, was the Sycamore who recovered the onside kick at UNI. Now, Indiana State only has 1 timeout left with 2 minutes to go. So NDSU will have their hands team in.
Indiana State with only 1 moderately deep receiver, and he's at the 32-yard line. You could consider pooching it up to about the 20 and just see if your kids can outrun them.
NDSU has not been able to breathe easy today. Largest lead was 11. It's now 5. Can Indiana State keep the upset bid alive here? Now they're going to switch sides of the field. Onside kick, booted and then held on to for NDSU. There have been blunders today for the Bison. No blunder there. Covered up. That time, I believe, by Joe Stuffle. And NDSU now can take a big, deep breath.
And just catches the back end of it. That's all you got to do.
That's all he had to do. You could tell he was just taking one extra hard look.
That's the way you coach that, though. You always tell your kids, get the big hop. It's kind of like playing shortstop. You don't want to get the short hop. You want to get the big hop, get your momentum. But like I said, he waited, as you said, as long as he could and caught the back half of it, but it still counts.
Again, only 1 timeout left for Indiana State. North Dakota State will have Cam Miller under center and Hunter Lipke right behind him. So assuming NDSU just does not cough up the ball, which they've done today, Lipke gets 9 yards to the 40, and Indiana State will call a timeout. Okay, let's look at this first from the NDSU
third and final timeout of the half.
perspective.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Not pretty at all today for North Dakota State. They know they did not play their best, but they found a way to win, assuming they hold on here in the final minute 52. That's what makes this so impressive for the Bison, that no matter how great or bad it may look, they just find a way to keep pulling out wins.
Yeah, and that's what winners do. They find ways to continue to win. And, you know, if you're one of their opponents and you're on their schedule and every year you just come so very close, but you never can quite get over that hump, what do you got to do? Well, you got to become North Dakota State. You got to do what they do. Right now, they didn't do it today. They had turnovers and they had penalties, but for the most part, They play good defense. They keep the ball on the ground. They use the clock. They got about a 17-minute time advantage in this football game today. That's North Dakota State football. So, again, yeah, pretty? No. But it's hard to travel. It's hard to win on the road. I don't care where you're at or who you're playing. They're going to win, and I'm sure Coach Ince is going to take the win and get out of here.
1 yard away from officially putting this one to rest.
And who do you think they're going to give it to?
I think I have an idea.
That dude lined up 7 yards deep coming downhill?
I think it's the one right in the middle of your screen. I don't think there's anybody else they trust the ball in right now more than Lipke. And that's who will get the carry. He only needed a yard, and he got it. North Dakota State's going to survive. Let's go ahead and get to some of our plays of the game. We're going to start with the 4 defensive play of the game in this one. And this is where the game really changed. North Dakota State fumbles the ball deep in Indiana State territory. Bilal Kone picked it up, and that's how this game really flipped. Indiana State would score, and they led for the majority the whole way in the first half till the second half.
Yeah, and credit Jeffrey Brown. Looked like number 2 there was the guy that kind of knocked that ball loose using that hammer technique from the back.
So the fumble recovery early in this game is our 4 defensive play of the game, as Cam Miller will take one knee here, or multiple knees. Let's go ahead and give out our Epic Insurance player of the game. And my goodness, Coach, how about to Merrick Williams today, the SMU transfer? Of course, he had a great year a year ago, had 772 yards last year. Today, by far a season high, 145 yards and 3 scores. He carried the Bison on his back today.
Yeah, he played in 5 games, but he only had 16 carries coming in for 116 total yards and 0 touchdowns. To Merrick Williams obviously was the difference. Now, again, Lipke's awfully good, and he was a factor as well, but I do think the difference was that young man right there, number 22.
Epic Insurance, operating as one Epic company. You can find information about our shared capabilities and the additional resources available to our clients on epicbrokers.com. It was not a game that was expected to come down to the final moments, but Matt Ince gives a warm embrace to head coach Kurt Mallory at midfield, and North Dakota State, after being pressured all day long to make plays late to win it, they escape Terre Haute with a 31-26 win. It was an entertaining one this afternoon for our whole crew. So for Jim Leisure, for Kelsey Casper down on the field, I am Luke Martin. For our producer Eric Mangum and our whole production crew of Indiana State University students, saying so long from Memorial Stadium for the final scores. Number 1, North Dakota State 31, Indiana State 26. Bison move on to 5-1, 3-0 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Sycamores fall to 0-2 in the Valley, and now 1-4 on the season. You can catch all games airing on ESPN on the ESPN app. This has been Valley Football on the Valley on ESPN.